I wish good things to you who is watching this. I am Alexey, and with me today is a very special guest. And maybe before introducing him, let's see if maybe y'all want to guess who that is. So my mystery guest, would you please say hello to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
So those of you who have been following the entirety of the competitive Carcassonne scene, and not just this channel, will recognize Matthias Lehmacher, also known as Ice Maze, a fellow Carcassonne YouTuber and a German master, and the semi-finalist of the Mind Sports Olympiad and the Carcassonne Champions League, and the third place finisher at the National German Championships. So a strong master who's having a great season and a fellow content creator. So hi, Matthias. Now, regarding your screen name, there is... do you prefer to be called Matthias, Ice Maze, Ice, or Utse for the duration of the stream?
Depends on what you can manage. I don't prefer my birth name, so Matthias is out of the window. Everything else is fine with me, so if you can manage Utse, yeah, go for it. It's Ice Maze, Wise Maze, Ice, whatever tickles your fancy.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Thank you for keeping the option flexible. Hi, Kirilo. Hi, Napamai. And we still have 3 minutes to properly introduce the match that we're going to watch. We're in round 5 of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship, nearing the decisive events of the group stage. And we're covering 2 matches today, Czechia versus Malaysia. That's one in Group E, which you can see on the screen at the moment. This one doesn't matter too much for the tournament standings because Czechia, well, will finish in 3rd or 4th and will not qualify for the playoffs, although the results of this match will matter, of course, psychologically and for the final standings of the championship. But really, this is just a chance to watch some interesting Carcassonne games and say goodbye to the 2 teams. Malaysia, hitherto what's the opposite of undefeated? Well, basically, defeated multiple times. They'll be trying to score an upset against Czechia today. Overall, we do expect to be a one-sided match because of Czechia's experience. They have 3 masters. Only 2 of them are lined up, but still massively strong team. Malaysia will be trying to deliver upsets on a couple of tables. Ice, want to ask you something. Have you, I know you've played with some Czech players. For sure, you had your semi-final, not semi-final, but bronze medal game against Posi, against Pavel Hudec, who's not lined up today. Are you familiar with other Czech players? Are you familiar with other Malaysian players? So anything that you're willing to share?
Yeah, I'm familiar with one Malaysian player, that's Kaika, but he's not on the team this year. So no insight there from me. I'm a bit familiar with Martin. I think I even red thumbed him because I fall asleep while playing him back in the day. I guess I should revert that red thumb now, if I haven't already. Else, Marty Party Uye. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, and Chomps just from viewing, I think, the Champions League qualification. Didn't he participate in that?
I think he did, yes.
Yeah, I think you had fun with his screen name, chomping, etc.
Right. Of course, he has to score quick points, yes.
Yeah, chomping. Else, no insight from me here.
Well, gotcha. So then I think it's a pretty easy decision for us as to which table to follow. So do some further introduction for players. Just gonna, before jumping into the table, is gonna do a run through real quick. Czechia has not 1 but 3 Martins. I presume that Ice was referring to Martin Mojžíš, Moja 88, the 2012 world champion, rated at 700 at the moment, who's now one of the slowest players alive, but for good reason. They're very elaborate and thorough with their opening setups, and then they typically spend to speed up throughout the game. I generally empathize with players who spend a lot of time, so Ice Maze and I are very much opposites here. Now, Marty Party, that's also Martin Chelinak, and Bormar, that's Martin Borish. So an onslaught of 3 Martins today is what is expected to deliver Czechia the victory, but we never know. And the highest rated player of Malaysia, Rambo Pang, expert rated, is going to play against Martin Moises today. I've seen their games before. Of course, it's not quite the same level as a master, but we are expecting a fight today. On other players, we have on other tables, we have players whom we covered before. We've covered neutrals on the stream. We've covered J14. We've covered Logan Ganesh. So I feel like table 1 should deliver here. And the games have already started, I presume. Yes, they have.
Yeah, about Martin Moises, lately I can empathize, especially because I got in a lot of hot water by playing too fast in the beginning of a few games. So maybe his MO should be one I should copy.
Well, and he has been following his repertoire, spending an entire minute on just the 3 opening tiles. Now finishing his city on one side, preparing to finish it on another, but it is Rambo Pang who places a yellow meeple on the 1-point road whilst also finishing their 8-point city and gets the lead on the scoreboard. Martin with the Dorito tile soon to follow, and a couple of options here. So option 1 that I see, and it's a natural move, we just continue the city here, we separate the 2 roads. Option 2, we maybe go here and try to cover up the city on one side with a triangle. Or option 3, we start a new city in a different place, which would be against Martin's style, but a valid option as well. So Ice, what do you prefer here?
I think the first one. So separating or trying to separate the roads. Yep, exactly like that.
Yeah, no surprises here. Martin follows. Instant semi-block from Rambo Pang. I assume also that the way the Malaysian player is thinking, he's approaching this game right from a time management perspective. So he's clearly thinking during Martin's move and try to anticipate his response based on the most likely move by Martin, which is what occurs right now. Martin now with a cow tile, really awkward tile actually, only 2 places to place it. Well, there's one which seems a bit counterproductive, so he doesn't go there, and he just dumps the city at the top, chooses not to meeple it, now has a Dorito tile, and again, another non-obvious move. So a natural decision here is to go like this, maybe even start a new road, continue the city, maybe even we do something like this again, which was an option last time. But option 3 is that we leave the 2 cities alone and start a new city over here, looking for a lip-shaped city all the way around here.
Yep, I like that one.
The last one, you mean?
Yeah, the last one. I think you don't have to go for the other cities. The right one is safe for now. And the left one, yeah, it's not really an improvement adding the Dorito there.
Yeah, because like if you do add the Dorito to the left one, you prevent the city from being invaded, but then you start needing the same type of city cap in the same place. And there are actually some scenarios how things can go south, how you could be forced to continue your opponent's feature
and then there's
instead.
I'm sorry, and then there's exactly the tile I wouldn't like to see in Martin's shoes.
Yeah, so that's a way for invading the city, obviously from Rambo, and definitely the greatest sigh of relief from Malaysian fans. A 10-point city being prevented. Now he continues his side of the city, so he doesn't even need to connect the 2 cities anyway. Martin, however, finished the city on the left, equalizing on the scoreboard and starting a new city as well. Now thinking what to do with this straight line. Hi, Kirilo. Hi, Ian. So I wonder like what exactly he's thinking about, because it seems to me that the logical move is just to get 1 point, but he still does spend the extra 30 seconds in doing so. So I wonder, it's if you have any idea what might be going through Martin's mind during these moments.
Yeah, it's threatening his city on the left, of course. So it's well to think about. And because if you continue the city without without laying the straight where it's now, you'd endanger your road. Not significantly, because all 3 daggers are still in the deck, but still. And then actually there's no great continuation to the city anyway, except for the last remaining extender.
Well,
So
or
I
the last
guess
remaining
that's
splitter, I guess.
why he used the straight. Normal move, all fine.
Yeah, well, here's a move which a bit is not that normal. I mean, it is normal for Martin. He's pretty known for early farmers, but this one for 3 points seems to be a tad premature even for him. Now it's gonna turn into a 6-point field, which is exactly what happens right now, and there are a couple of green squares for further development, but in the meantime the Malaysian player is trying to deliver threats on his own. There are now 3 yellow meeples lurking around this big city over here. This meeple is trying to invade. This meeple at the top is sort of going for insurance for an extra invasion.
I think he picked the worst move of the possible ones with the Dorito. Because now Martin can easily counterattack. And there were at least 2, to me, better options. So going at the top next to the cow, or maybe better even on the right side. And then hoping to continue with big city tiles. Now yeah, okay, he liberates that one. So at least if Martin manages to block, he'll only kill 2 yellow meeples.
Yeah, and also, you know what? There is still a backdoor route. Like, if this square gets blocked, then yellow can still get a couple of Doritos like this and sneak in all the way through this here opening with the last remaining extender.
Yeah, let's say a 5 to 10% chance of that happening.
Probably even a little bit less, but you add these 5 to 10% to whatever the probability is for this connection being successful, and there's still a decent chance. 4 tiles to fit into that square, 2 horses, 2 road Doritos. Of course, Martin is going to try and block, but we'll have a chance to defend as yellow here. And now the first monastery of the game goes to yellow. In the meantime, red starts a city at the top, which is not in his own field, and that's a very unorthodox move. So what do you make of it, Utse?
I'm not sure. I guess he just doesn't want to add anything to Yellow's monastery and would really like to liberate his road meeple.
Oh,
or
that
at
was
least not
before the
threaten that
monastery,
one.
though. The city cap was before the monastery.
Oh. Well, then I don't get it at all.
No, I do get it like a little bit, because I assume that he wanted to obstruct the road of yellow, which didn't quite end up working. Maybe he figured that he could also grow his main field a little bit later. In the meantime, a counter field is started by yellow by finishing one part of the city. The field is now 3 points. It's going to be 6 points once this straight line is going to get drawn at some point. It's going to get 9 points if this monstrosity gets finished, which for there is still a chance. In the meantime, Martin finishes a 6-point road, goes up ahead significantly on the scoreboard, now gets another crossroads at an interesting decision. So option 1, we take 2 points like a normal person. Option 2, we go and block here. Which has some risks. Now, the good thing is that if we go here, we get a straight line. Potentially, we try and block that square. The bad thing, if that were to happen, if our opponent gets a curve, then they get to protect their connection. And they also get a ring road surrounding their city. So do you go here for the block right now, or do you like what Martin did right here?
No, I'd wait. I think there are so many curves still in the deck, curvy tiles, crossroads. It's rather easily prevented, and the chances of a successful block should be higher with a city piece. About yellow's field on the right side, though, 2 of the right-handed daggers are already gone, so if Martin were to draw a cow, he could significantly limit the expansion options from the top, and therefore I really don't like the farmer. That's too early. I guess you wait, or I would wait for a straight or curve to connect and expand the field to 6 points, and maybe then take the field.
Yeah, you know what? I assume that yellow just had a lot of meeple in his hand at the time, because this move was made before the Monastery move as well. This move also was made before the top dragger was drawn, so he figured, hey...
Okay, so with 4 meeples in hand, yeah, it's okay, but...
But I agree that there was no urgency in doing so.
Yeah, definitely not.
So Martin now makes a move which I expected from him. I suspect, Ute, that you're not going to agree with it, because like his classic move here is simply go at the bottom and dump the city caps here and just develop your own field. And honestly, I would be inclined to do that. So basically the same 2 moves, but with tiles reversed. We go here with the splitter, and then with the invasion tile we go here. But apparently red decides that attacking the city is urgent enough that it's okay to sacrifice some equity, and apparently it's also okay to drop a city cap in yellow's field as well.
Yeah, he's a rather cautious player, and why not? I mean, if he wins, the rest should be fine. So at least prevent your opponent from running away with a big city, and if you can reduce the chances of that, why not? He's in the lead. He could still meeple the top right field upon completion of his road. So the city cap might end up on a field which he at least partly owns anyway. So I don't think that's problematic at all.
Yeah, and he now just keeps munching on quick points. He also now threatens the meeple of Rambo over here at the top. Presumably Monastery here is to follow for a 75% block, although maybe 75% is too much of a chance to give. So maybe as Martin, you actually instead, you meeple a new Monastery and you try to block with a different tile later. Rambo, in the meantime, I think misses a chance a little bit, continues his Monastery instead of doing the more important thing in my view, which would be to go over here and almost block Martin's road meeple with only 2 crossroads remaining. At the very least, what this move would do is that would make sure that even if Martin gets a crossroads like here, then he can't meeple a 9-point field as a result of it. He can only meeple a 6-point field over here. But in the meantime, Rambo's ideas are paying off. He is finishing his Monastery, starting a new road which shares the fate together with the red Monastery. Martin, in the meantime, develops a 9-point field on the right as predicted, but Rambo with the starting tile and another 6-point field. Now the tiles start flying. A lot of points for both players, only 5-point advantage for Martin, but he's going to munch on another city cap in the field on the right, or will he? So you mentioned the 3 daggers, Utse, and the 3rd dagger was just drawn by Moya. So with this city cap, instead of 7 points, we can actually go over here and block Rambo's field connection instead, but Martin chooses to leave it open and drop a 2nd farmer instead. I did not see that coming, if I'm completely honest. Did you?
Me neither, but I would have used the curve not on my Monastery if I were yellow, but to connect the fields to prevent at least Martin's first farmer.
Well,
even though you then could be limited to the crossroads, but still.
Yeah, this connection over here. I mean, so much is happening on the board. So yellow connected to the field, red connected to the field, and yellow just dropped like an absolutely insane ninja farmer, which was so risky. So you took it block, and it still somehow worked. Now 2 yellow meeples in the same field as 2 red meeples, and now it is a game. Rambo now invading the ruin. Moya should still re-invade in all likelihood, but he still needs to draw some sort of Dorito or a big tile. At the moment, Rambo is a little bit ahead. Moya pre-building a 4-point road, which will be snatched by Rambo, who is now 6 points ahead on the scoreboard.
Actually, that ninja invasion wasn't that risky. I think there were the 2 crossroads, sure, but 7 or 8 curvies, so chances looked great actually.
Yeah, but curvies could be used to block towards the crossroads, like here.
Yeah. The monastery was there already?
The monastery was there. That's the point. Yes.
Okay.
I know. I know, because like you wouldn't believe that the monastery was there, right? But no, it was. That's
never.
the thing.
Yeah. Well.
On the other hand,
an Otto moment. Let's call it an Otto moment.
No, that's fine. It's fine. You can't criticize it if it works.
Oh well.
I know you can, and you should.
Let's agree to disagree.
You know what? Like I can understand Rambo, because if you're playing a world champion, you also like I think he's conceptually correct that when you're playing a world champion, you can't play normally. You actually have to play slightly riskier than you normally would.
Okay, then. Oh, it was Red's move. Yeah, he prevents the next attack by Rambo, which would have come there.
Yeah,
for sure.
But honestly, Red could have attacked himself. Like with this move over here, when Red connected to the ruin, Red could have just gone over here and dropped his last meeple on the farm with a lot of curvy tiles still remaining to connect. So I wonder why Martin chose not to do that. Oh, lordy. Yellow seems to just really wants to win this field, which I don't think he had to. He could just take 4 points, put himself 8 points ahead on the scoreboard, and that would put him actually 6 points ahead overall. Yeah, so Rambo's ahead 2 points at the moment. Martin finishes his monastery, and Rambo gets the connection. Wow.
And wins the game. And you're right. He didn't even need to win the field outright.
But actually, now that I look at the remaining tiles, was this like a genius move? Because it wasn't easy to block at all.
There is still a curve coming, and now this connection by Martin gets blocked if... what? Where's yellow's piece? There. Yeah, I'm used to thicker borders.
Oh, gotcha.
Didn't see the vanilla there.
Yeah. Wait,
yeah,
I
so
think
Martin...
I might have accidentally uninstalled the thing for quicker borders. I'm gonna check after the stream for thicker borders.
You mean Spitkey's extension?
No, there's another one, just some CSS.
Okay.
From Hugo Pereira. So 10-point win for Rambo. He's saying got lucky, but actually, yes, but also, I felt like he played well. Yeah, he did this risky stuff with the field invasion, but then both of them were successful. Both of them were not that low prob, especially the second one. Now, the second one does look completely crazy, but with the tiles remaining, it's really not that easy to block with so many city plus field tiles remaining, which kind of fit over here for only a partial restriction, but not a complete one. Martin remaining within 11 seconds, so Rambo is really putting up the pressure here, and trying to deliver that upset for the Malaysians.
Yeah, and they aren't even on the slowest table. Marty, Party, Ouye, and J14th, JXIV are still playing on table 4.
Oh, wow. I did not expect that. So normally when a strong player is still playing against a low-rated player, this typically means that they are in trouble and they need to use all of their talent, all of their time to try and wiggle out of this. So we will be watching that in the background. Maybe in the meantime, the second game between Rambo and Moya has started. In the meantime, Rambo, the starting player, and they have already 6 points on the scoreboard from 2 3-point roads. Moya is now probably gonna follow suit, although not really. If I know him enough, he's not gonna finish his road. Instead, he's gonna go on the left, take 2 points, and try to set up some potential annoyance to this here connection square, as this yellow 1-pointer is trying to invade the bigger city of red. But I stand corrected. I did not expect this move from Martin.
Yeah, me neither. That's the most uninteresting move of the bunch. So either kill the monastery square or take the left option. But just the road? Nah. I think you could have done more with this piece.
I think so, yeah. It seems to me that it's a bit of an unambitious move, just trying to keep things simple. I'm not sure if this is like Martin's normal play. I don't think he is. He generally tends to like put more pressure in the opening and kind of complicate things a little bit more than this. So I'm curious about his mental state really after this first loss. Like, does he care about that loss a lot? Is he tilting or not? He doesn't come across as the guy who does, but then again, you know, he's the world champion. He's, well, at least a world champion. He's expected to win. His opponent is 200 rating points lower. Like, this can really mess with your head.
I don't think so. Come on, he's played, what was it, 14 world championships, I think. So he's playing there effectively for 2 decades, more or less each year. And he should be mentally stable as a rock.
So this is what I expect from him, but I know plenty of experienced players who aren't.
Yeah, well, I saw a few last Saturday.
So Martin takes the 2 points in the only possible location. Rambo is trying to block Martin's road because there are no quick points available. And look at this, only 1 monastery spot. Oh, 2 monastery spots actually for Martin. Both are really subpar. Oh, there's 3 monastery spots.
But the top one is fine, and Meepling, of course, as well.
It's actually more than fine. It's a great spot because it's controlling the city of yellow, which currently belongs to yellow in the long run because, you know, there are 4 tiles that fit into the square to unify everything. And Martin, of course, knows this. He's trying to connect a second meeple there through a Dorito tile like this. A straight line from yellow trying to create some disturbance against that square. And Martin, now with a splitter, needs to make an interesting decision. Do we take quick points? Maybe continuing our monastery? And if we do, which way we turn the city cap, up or down? Or do we go here and try to add even a 3rd meeple somewhere in the vicinity of the big city and keep it flexible? Maybe we try and finish the city a little bit later. Maybe we try to get a couple of Dorito tiles and invade there with a 3rd. Who knows? Or maybe we just keep everything open and we just take the 4 quick points at the bottom instead.
Yeah, I think yellow straight is the problem for Martin here. He might even be considering just closing there, but that would be too cautious.
Well,
I'd go for the left cap and turn the other cap to the top.
That would set up another quick point scoring opportunity, one that Martin would be more likely to take advantage of than Rambo, because Rambo needs city plus road tiles for other things.
Yeah, he's the cautious type.
Yeah. I honestly, I didn't see that move. This move makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But it is indeed a rather cautious move, and I presume that he just wants to outplay his opponent a little bit later. Now he also took 4 points. He's also blocking the square near his monastery and also in Rambo City. There are 2 tiles remaining in this square. But let's say if everything gets blocked and then this yellow guy connects over here, the yellow is still going to be in a winning mini battle against red, so it will be in red's interest to try and connect to that city, which is exactly what he's trying to sort of do from the right. Now finally gets a curve to liberate his road meeples. In the meantime, Rambo's building up his now 6-point monastery at the top. These monasteries develop really rapidly. Now a 3-point road as well, looking to build a longer road through his monastery, also creating a vulnerability in this shared city, potentially, but a vulnerability next to his own monastery square. And now Martin, with an extender tile, does he go over here and go for the big ruin, in which case he's going to tie that ruin, but he's likely to be in a long-term meeple disadvantage because of this vulnerable square next to his monastery? Or does he try to just build his own city on the right, maybe with something like this, and simply further restrict this ruin from all sides from potential expansion? Is this the move that you expected, Utsa?
I'm not sure. From Martin, yeah. I guess most would have tried to connect. But I think he wouldn't mind in the end losing the mini battle with -5, -6 or such.
He is 6 points ahead on the scoreboard, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not looking like there'd be a huge field, at least not for now. The one up top is iffy. Maybe an option to expand it to the right still.
Yeah, for example, with a curve or something.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it doesn't have to be that field necessarily, because in those openings where you have the big tiles come out early, although this is a bit of a hybrid opening, there are some city caps on the board as well. But still, so many city caps are in the deck that if one side gets a long-term meeple advantage, then they could really take advantage of a future big field, even though there aren't any big fields at this moment.
Yep, and that's exactly why Martin opted to build his own city on the right side.
Incidentally, it is also in a different field as well. Then also Rambo's city on the left is starting a new field in its own right. Then there's this here city cap at the bottom, which with another green square honestly could even give birth to another small 6-point field or something like this. Now, Martin, of course, is going to add this tile to his city. This is not the move that I expected. A move that makes a lot of sense to me. But I figured he would go for a slightly different orientation of the Dorito tile, but whatevs. Now, Rambo is still wanting to complete that big city, and I can't blame him for it. Now, I'm actually only 2 city caps away from covering that city up. In the meantime, Martin is trying to threaten a city of his own, which is going to be 4, 5, 6, 14 points if completed, only 1 city cap away. Rambo is trying to create an attacking square, and Martin doesn't get a city cap, but he gets a curve, which I presume he's gonna use to disturb one of the city squares, and he goes to disturb the shared square, namely this one over here next to his monastery, because whilst doing so, he gets to make a multi-purpose move. He gets to also go for a 4-point road. Oh, and also he's...
Oh, well, why don't you attack Red City on the right side? I don't get it.
Oh, with the Dorito. Oh, wow. Yeah,
sure.
It's a rather... It's actually a gigantic mistake for Rambo. It's a gigantic mistake for Rambo. And So honestly, I even missed this because I assumed that he wouldn't. But yeah, of course, this tile belonged over here, and this here move by Martin was entirely preventable. He's going to be ahead a obscene number of points. Rambo now drops a 6-point farmer with not a lot of potential. He's going to have his big ruin and everything, but I think Martin should take this one home. Although a Monash meeple comes back to Rambo's hand, only 6 points behind on the scoreboard. And actually, no, this position, not that bad. Not that bad for Rambo. Would have been much better if he were to attack the city, which Martin just finished. But hey, he can get a Dorito, finish a city on the left for 8 points. He doesn't even have to expand his 6-point field necessarily. He just has to leave it alone, really. Martin, though, draws a cow tile, so only 2 tiles remaining to fit into this square. Let's see if Martin manages to pull a 6%er and draw all the 4 tiles.
Yeah, we witnessed one today earlier. Narelle from Australia, I think, didn't get any of the 4. So why not?
Yeah, because, you know, like 6% is better than 0 still. So I think I know the move that Martin is going to play. Yeah, and it is that one for sure with the farmer, which looks like a solid move because it's a 4-point move to begin with, 3-point farm, developing the monastery for 1 point, and then setting up 2 city caps, 2 8-point moves on both sides, which is why Rambo immediately attacks this field, recognizing its potential. And you know what? If there are enough curves in the deck, which there aren't, but if there were, yellow could go here, and yellow could go here, and try to create a big field and get in all of his meeples into that here field on the right, and then win the game.
Actually, you could have gone with the curve there already.
Yeah.
And threaten the field connection with, I think there's still, there is 1 vertical splitter remaining, or with the vanillas.
2 vanillas, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Martin's farmer, of course, was great. Still 2 daggers each remaining. So not even that great a chance for yellow if they were to obstruct.
Yeah, and so I wonder, like, I was thinking about this. Does Martin go here and risk the obstruction, but go for these sweet monastery points? And he goes for the sweet monastery points. No obstruction is to follow as a crossroads can only provide 2 points for yellow. Martin, in the meantime, draws the dagger for the bottom tile. And Rambo is just trying really hard to block, and so far it is working. However, this monastery tile could have been used to help the entrance of the yellow meeple on the left into the main field. But in the short term, it works out. Martin does take advantage of the city cap with 4 points at the bottom. Rambo continues to keep blocking. Moya defends indirectly, straight line for Rambo. Well, he just builds up the monastery spot, but also sets up a field connection platform on the right. And the question is, does Martin use it right now? Or does Martin wait? Or does he do something like this, maybe, trying to restrict farming options or field development options for yellow, rather? Now, there still would be a dagger and a straight line to continue, but the chances of getting this small farmer into the big field would be much smaller. The question is, for you, Utse, would this be a worthy use of a dagger, or would you prefer to do something more standard, like starting a new city?
There are still 2 left-handed daggers remaining and 2 starting tiles, 2 straights. So if Martin were to go there and yellow would draw a straight, then he'd have a 75% chance of connecting the field. So I don't really see it. The city is blocked anyway, and now it gets tricky. By the way, with the Dorito on the right side to yellow's monastery, yellow already created a field attacking option through the dagger. So if he were to get one of the Rotoritos, for example.
Ooh. Yeah, lovely
Yeah,
little
like
farmer
this.
over here. And this is something that Martin is always going to have in his pocket as an option for like a Hail Mary win. I'm saying Martin and not Rambo because Rambo already made the most difficult step towards invading the field. He's actually only now one straight line away or one starting tile away from connecting. The only issue that I see is that 4 crossroads have gone out, which should make it so that with a straight line or a curve of his own, Martin could block the square permanently. So as Rambo, a move that I would have liked.
Save it with the cow.
Yeah, save it with the cow, going for the starting tile. But it's a counterintuitive move to make because you typically don't think of starting tiles as connection tiles, and Rambo's gamble does pay off as he does not get blocked. He connects to the field. The field is worth 12 points now. Yellow has pretty good control of it because the field is pretty tricky to invade, but Martin could still win without the field because he has loads of monasteries. And he has an extra meeple, and he just finished an 8-point city on the right. He has a 14-point scoreboard lead, and there's still 1 dagger remaining in that spot that you mentioned, where he could drop some sort of Hail Mary farmer. He cannot do it right now, and I would probably expect Martin to go for a counter field or something like this, or just try and build yet another 4-point city. He is, however, extremely short on time. Surprise, surprise. So I have no idea how he does this. I like to think a lot, but I manage my time completely differently. I blitz out opening moves, and then I spend like 5 full minutes in the end game, because I don't think I can calculate as fast as Martin can, apparently. He's trying to do this with 45 seconds remaining, 7 tiles to process. That is really a lot. And he tries to simply start a new city whilst also creating some attacking square. I think Rambo is trying to finish an 8-point city on the right. Martin is finishing a teeny tiny city on the left. Rambo gets a monastery but not a city. Moya with a straight line.
Yeah, but Rambo's move was great because he killed the attacking option, or at least took away the curve. I guess Martin would have needed a city plus field tile like the vertical divider to attack there, exactly. And now what's left? Doesn't matter. It's his last move anyway.
3, 2, 1. Oh man, 1 second. 1 second for Martin. Like this is just matter. Nerves of steel, man. Now, the thing with here, actually, I'm not sure who won. Like, it should be pretty close. Because Rambo has the field, right? For 12 points.
Yeah, the top monasteries are equal. The other 2 monasteries are countered by the ruin on the left. Rambo has a 12-point field plus a 7-point road.
Plus a 3-point city right here.
Yeah. Quick calculation, plus 5 or so.
For whom?
Yellow.
Yellow, yeah. Okay, it sounds about right. The thing is, like, because I was not sure, because that field looks very big with all these green squares, but there are only 4 cities on it.
Yeah.
Rambo saying all that's close OMG, basically paraphrasing my words.
Did I say plus 5 yellow?
Plus 5 yellow, you said. Spot on counting.
That wasn't counted.
Yeah. I wonder what happened here. So massive upset. First of all, Martin's games finished earlier than others, and then a 2-0 win for the Malaysian. And also I felt like Yellow didn't get crazy lucky. There were, of course, some risky things, but his city did get blocked here, and maybe the lucky part is kind of not getting blocked for his invasion here. But even without the invasion, he still had chances, because what this move really did, it only gave him like 6 points for the field by unifying these 6 points with these 6 points. And Martin did get the monasteries, just ended up not capitalizing on them. Also, a very interesting move for Rambo. I think one thing that did him a lot in this game was actually this block over here. It's not a move that I typically make with 2 daggers still remaining, but that works actually like a charm, because at the very least it delayed the retrieval of Martin's meeple and made sure that yellow was never at a significant meeple disadvantage for the duration of the game.
Yeah, but with the field connection, you also took a 7-point road. And let's go back to Yellow's field Dorito, with which he could have prevented Martin running away with this 14-point city in the middle. And then he would have been golden. But this way, it worked as well.
Yeah, just trying to, keep it closer for content. And obviously invading of the city was best. That's definitely an oversight on the part of Yellow. But then Yellow did end up getting a lot of points in this area, like 9 points here. Then this tile was actually used for 3 features. It was used for a road and for a city and for the monastery. So that's peak efficiency right there for this rose over here. 8 points here, 5 points for the road, plus 9. That's what, like 22? That's just a ridiculous concentration of points in that area. And of course, a 6-point farmer. Anyway, congratulations to Malaysia for this 1 point. It certainly makes the match interesting. Who do you want to watch next?
If you want to catch anything else, there's only 1 game still running, I think. And that's Neutral's Borma.
Neutral's Borma. At least the way I have the scoreboard from Carcassonne GG at the moment, what has been registered is that Czechia's 2-1 ahead in this match.
Yeah, and there is another one, Marty Party. Although they start counting in a few seconds right now.
Okay, so I'm focusing on neutrals there. They have 5 tiles remaining in their game, and neutrals is 10 points ahead with his 1 red meeple against the green meeple of Bormar. Let's see if there's some maybe big fields or something in response. And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, there are big fields. Well, not very much. I mean, there's a 15-point field in the center of the board somewhere here, right? With 2 red meeples on it.
Actually...
Yeah, and then there are 3 green meeples right over here. And then there's another secondary field which could be connected to the main field with 9 points over here, 3 cities. Again, the majority for green. Red is trying to invade at the bottom here to equalize at least the bottom field. And for that...
Yeah, but that's dead.
There are no curves, right?
Monasteries and curves are gone, yeah.
Monasteries and curves are gone. So this is going to take a 3 points. This also means that that these fields here are not going to get unified either. And neutrals now is suffering without meeples because he chose to meeple a 5-point ruin, for which I cannot necessarily blame him. But Bormar is now trying to finish a city on the left. Only 1 Dorito tile remaining to do that. Now successfully blocked. I don't think that it was possible to finish that city to begin with.
Actually, with the cow and that vanilla, it was. And there's no Dorito remaining.
But then once he drew the vanilla, wasn't it better to just take 1 point for a ruin?
I think there's a second vanilla. So if green were to get the cow now, they could have finished it later.
Right, like
At
this.
least I count 4. Yep, like this.
Gotcha. Oh, so then very smart calculation from neutrals. Now, I'm not exactly sure who's ahead here, because let's say 15 points for the field in the big one, right? And then
It's
9
18,
points over
18
here.
points actually.
18. What did I miss? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, this little piece. Okay, 18 points. Yeah. Okay, so this city is being scored twice. So that's 18 plus 7, that's 27. This guy here has 3, that's 24. These ruins are pretty much almost equal, that's 23. And the 2 monasteries for 16, that's 7. So neutral is ahead like 3 points. Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Which means that Bormar is probably going to have it. Because like all Bormar needs to do is, first of all, not lose on time. You are Martin, but you're not Mojžiš. You cannot go this low on time and still win.
And good news for Bormar is the last cow comes without a shield, so only 1 point for red.
Yeah, so all he needs to do is like if he could just take a 4-point victory, he can 4 points monastery, he can guarantee himself the win, unless there's a straight line for neutrals to retrieve his monastery, which I don't think there is.
Nope,
No, there isn't.
Straights are gone. There's a regular crossroad remaining, in addition to the vanilla and cow. So I think Bormar is just counting and counting and counting again.
Yep, he does get himself a 5-point monastery even. And also he was trying to be really, really precise. You know why he took this 4-point monastery spot and not a different one? And this was for the event that if neutrals were to draw this here tile, that if he were to go here, if red were to go here, in order to block the cow for the city expansion of Bormar, he would be forced to add 1 monastery point to Bormar.
Yeah.
So that was...
Actually, why did Green not add the crossroad to their monastery to get 1 point for the tie in this game instead of a 1-point loss?
What?
Yeah, what a blunder blunder can be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to interrupt you, but what the fuck?
Family friendly, please, but yes.
Sorry.
I know, I understand you, yeah, but it's like...
What is this?
Wait, what? I mean, I can tell you, it's being in time trouble. I told you, like, this is Martin, but he doesn't have, he's not Mojžiš. He can't do this. He needs to leave himself,
but still,
like...
You've placed the monastery with your penultimate move. You have, I don't know, 15 seconds, yeah? You have 2 chances to add the 1 point even, and you don't get it? Come on.
Yeah, like, if anything, like, my mouse would be hovering here, and this is exactly what Smulu is asking in the chat. Why did you not add to your monastery? Well, let's see what he responds. I presume it could be like a panic move or something.
It's definitely okay for us. We get to watch another game. Why not? But still.
Yeah, well, at least great for content. But so far, I gotta say this... Yeah, this has to be the biggest throw we've seen so far this season. Because I don't remember quite being a game being lost like on the last move and on a very, very simple move like this.
Time trouble. Let's call it just time trouble. How's your Czech? Did you translate or do I have to go to Google?
No, we're good. We're good. I mean, he says, yeah, my bad. I only had 10 seconds. So it's basically everything that we're saying.
So he slipped on the mouse, yeah, because the countdown started and whoops, clicked the left button instead of moving the mouse or something.
Slip. I know, but like
Yeah.
I've had this before in the 2021 World Team Carcassonne Online Championships. In my debut game, actually, against Team Germany, I was paired up against Ralf Kvefo at Navarra 79, and I was short on time. And I had a move, like I calculated the win with a 90% chance, and then I went and placed the tile, and all I had to do is I had to drop a farmer there, which was my intention. And then the countdown started clicking, and then my hand just started shaking, and I couldn't like physically grab the mouse. And so in the end, I panicked and kept the skip meeple button. So it just ended up making a 0-point move for no reason. Of course, I got the tile that I needed to win, and I lost the game by 1 point instead of winning it by like 7. Yeah, one of my most painful losses ever in my early days of the World Team Carcassonne Online Championship. So I feel for Martin. Although,
So you discovered Ralph's secret sauce, yeah? He's just making everyone nervous.
yeah,
No, he
honestly,
isn't. No, he isn't. Ralph's a good friend of mine, and he's one of the kindest people on earth, actually.
oh, well, I mean, it's not. It doesn't seem so based on his Carcassonne moves, because like his style is very aggressive and blocky. Lots of farmers, lots of like disruptions and stuff. I'm pretty sure he just has his side of him manifest only in Carcassonne. I guess that's it.
He kills farmers, not flies.
Yeah. Yes. Oh boy, honestly, yeah, this match in 2021, that was some emotional damage, because that was game 1 that I was describing. Game 3 was even a very, very painful coin flip. That's all on stream, of course, in on Vladimir's
Else you wouldn't remember
YouTube
it,
channel.
no? If it hadn't lack of words.
If it hadn't happened on stream, I wouldn't remember this. Is that what you meant?
No. If you hadn't gotten emotional damage from the game, you wouldn't remember it. I guess I tend to forget these things. I mean, many games, they are gone half an hour after or so. Even the bad ones, luckily. But not all.
Oh, I'm quite different, actually. And I thought that everybody was like this, but then I heard from my teammates that apparently it's not that common. But I do remember games from many years ago, especially if they're somewhat impactful, regardless whether they're good or bad, and also regardless if I played in them or not. And sometimes it can be helpful. It can be helpful for pattern recognition, because like if you've seen something in a different game, you can remember how exactly it worked out. So this game, for example, by Bormar, I'm not going to forget for a long time. In fact, this reminds me of the game in, I think, 2021. 2020. Yeah, 2021 European Championships between Catalonia and France, where the French player, I think actually I know exactly who the French player was. I'm not going to say that. Was in the same position. Like all he needed to do was just add 1 point to his feature and secure the win in the match, and make his team advance to the next stage of the playoffs. But instead he just randomly discarded the city cap and then lost the game by a tie. So that was an incredibly painful loss for France right then. And a rather painful but not as painful loss for Czechia, because at the very least, Martin Boreš gets here another chance, and in the third game, his position looks pretty good. Yes, he's 1 point behind on the scoreboard, but he has the first farmer of the game with not many easy access points, maybe just a couple over here at the bottom. He has a 7-point monastery, and he has a soon-to-become big ruin with this horse tile. So Martin is doing quite well, and it is the Malaysian player who will need to step up his game right now. And he goes and scores 4 points, presumably wanting to draw a road tile soon enough and drop a farmer there, but Martin is not going to let him. The question is, how exactly do you not let him do that? Yeah, so this is one option. And he goes for the city cap, which makes a lot of sense. It does give back a 9-point field, which neutrals should take right now, right? Yes,
Yeah,
of
sure.
course.
And then there's another attacking option atop the extender, so 2 above Red's monastery.
Right, right,
And
right.
I think Green has to win that field to have a chance in this game, unless they start to attack the city on the right side. I'd still consider this a city.
I would still
5
consider
tiles
this
from
a
completion,
city.
but still.
It's probably a ruin because I think the main chances for Green here, yes, they lie in the field, but also Green has the meeples to do so because Green has 2 meeples tangled up in this area, whereas Bormar has 3 meeples tangled up in this area, and ideally, at least what we would do as Green, we would maybe try and block some squares here perhaps, and then double down on the farmers, but now it's going to be increasingly difficult. Sheesh and yikes, yikes and sheesh, as Martin is about to drop a 3rd farmer and claim pretty much ironclad control of the field with the meeple minority. He also goes ahead 1 point on the scoreboard, but he will be playing this game with pretty much just 1 meeple throughout the rest of the game, unless he somehow manages to liberate his monastery.
Yeah, I meant just technically, so the city could still be closed. I think this will be a ruin for sure in the end, but sometimes things happen. And Red here, this reminds me of a game from France, Brazil. I think we've played more or less the same game here, except for the big ruin versus Besson, where he also tried to win the field by meepling it pretty early with 4 farmers even, I think.
It was 3,
And
the
this
4th
year-
came later, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But still, 3 is
But
a lot.
also, I think he had only 1 meeple in hand for like the last 30 tiles or so.
Exactly. So you do remember games from the past.
Yeah, I do remember games, specific games. But sometimes I only remember, for example, there was a game versus Dr. Kaihan, I think last year's WTCOC. I don't really remember the tiles. I only remember I had a 75%er to win that game and lost, and therefore we lost the match. But don't ask me which piece I would have needed. I can't remember. It was on the left side of the board. That's all I remember.
That's interesting. Because like for
Yeah,
me, if I do remember, there's going to be like very visual. Like there's going to be a picture of that painful tile or that painful hole with the tile needing, or like with a needed tile there. Well, in this game though, we do expect it to proceed in the way it has been proceeding, so players are kind of equal on the scoreboard. Martin with a strong control of the field. The Malaysian player is just taking quick points and at some point is looking to strike on the field. There are 2 reasonable platforms to do so. One, of course, is over here, just created by neutrals. And if he goes here right now, that would be an option. Another one, which is probably even better, is going over here and invading through an unblockable curve like this. And this already would equalize in the field. There's, of course, a 3rd one going over here and dropping a farmer like this, but it is not something that you want to be doing.
The right one it is. Unless you try to liberate your monastery.
Yeah, which
I can't agree with.
Yeah. Oh, you're being very diplomatic. Yeah.
Yeah, you said something about kids and so.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, this is good. Let's be gentle. But yeah, it has to be a mistake from neutrals, of course. Also giving back this 5-point road which Martin just took on the right with the horse tile, but I can understand the desire of neutrals to get more meeples to fight for the field, although he switched his strategy to fighting back for the ruin, and now that Martin has somehow managed to successfully complete the monastery, I think that Red's position has been strategically won. It was specifically the meeple entanglement in this area that gave neutrals a fighting chance. Now Martin has the scoreboard, the field control, and the meeple advantage. What else do you need in that position?
Yeah, well, something to block green's monastery would be nice. Only one left-handed dagger in the deck. And if you can accomplish that, this should be red's game here. But green definitely needs to liberate meeples, and fast.
Oh, but instead he wants to inflict
nice
further.
attack.
Yeah. Nice attack indeed. You go.
Yeah, I was thinking if the attack would have been better at the bottom, but there's only one big city tile in the deck, so up top, definitely the one to go for.
Yeah, this one's kind of annoying to block because, first of all, as you said, there's only one dagger remaining for neutrals to go here and reinvade. And any block, whether it would be with a straight line or with a curve, any restriction would not be definitive. So it is an extremely annoying threat to deal with, and probably at some point neutrals will have to reinvade. Another thing that neutral was gonna have to do is try to finally draw the final remaining vanilla city cap to go over here and liberate his little one-pointer. Of course, a bit unfortunate that Bormar here drew these here vanilla city caps, but finally we gotta do something about this man, because this 1-point meeple here cannot stay like that.
Yeah, or get a city piece plus road to then draw a Dorito later on. Yeah, here we go. This would work.
Yeah, that would be actually an amazing... Oh, with a farmer! Bam!
Plus field attack. Plus field attack, of course.
He has to see it. He has to see it. It's like the perfect tile.
Let's hope he does.
So this is the board vision test for the Malaysian, maybe soon to be expert. And no, he does not see it.
Nope.
He does not see it.
Scratch the soon.
Martin connects to the ruin regardless. Neutrals can still invade. He can still save himself towards a vanilla. He does not do that. He instead tries to block a little bit or create another platform for invasion.
Yep, that would be the point where I'd switch to another game, but there's none running, so no chance here. Tough. I'm not sure what the curve shall accomplish, but well, I guess if you want to win this game, you just have to hope that red isn't able to close the city somehow, and rather you'd be able to attack from the left to below the road monastery.
Yeah, something like this. I mean, this is at a minimum, right? Because we need this and we need the field down. We just need the world here, really. And
yeah, not really, actually. You need to tie the ruin, you need to tie the field, and then you're ahead.
Yeah, but in order to tie the field, we'll need meeples, and we really need that vanilla city cap.
Sure. You need city caps beforehand, but still 19 tiles in the deck, so 21 remaining. Why not?
Oh, you know
10
what?
moves?
I think Bormar here had a strategic win, which he didn't see. He made a natural move, continuing the city and everything, getting 1 point, sort of eliminating one of the attacking platforms, but he had this here move available to him. Actually, it's not such a good move. Actually, never mind.
Actually, it is a good move. There's only, what's remaining? 1 Dorito and 1 vanilla.
Yeah.
So you'd at least remove the extender, the last cow, and let me count, 1 dagger from the equation. So why not? You'd kill 3 pieces, which green definitely would use there. But the other option would have been to close your city from the left side, because I think an attack over there is way more likely and more often successful than the one you killed now.
Agreed.
Because if green were to attack from the bottom, you'd have at least a few pieces to immediately kill that advancement.
Well, speaking of killing pieces, the last dagger has been just drawn by Martin, and now this monastery is permanently trapped in increasingly painful development for our Malaysian fans, who have been only using this 2-point monastery as a source of at least some positive emotion. However, this field invasion would have been a bit better. Setting up a 4-point road instead would have already worked, but at this point, as neutrals, yeah, we gotta go like for the field right now, hope for the final remaining vanilla tile right now, and then we get like this. Yeah, he does not see that. He just gets the defense, but does not see the invasion.
That's a bummer. Well.
In the meantime, Martin also gets the last big tile available, which should make invasions impossible in this configuration of the board, because now that's invasion spot on the left that we've been talking about is really not an invasion spot at all, with no tiles remaining that fit there. So neutrals will need to do something like, I don't know, getting another Dorito and building up Bormar's Ruin, then getting a city cap and going over here and going over here, but none of that is going to be mattering because the last vanilla city tile has been drawn by red, and this poor 1-pointer is going to get stuck over here. Poor neutrals just cannot catch a break in this game.
Yeah, there's still an attacking route from the right side. There's still an extender left and multiple Doritos even. So city cap, starting tile, for example, Dorito, extender, and then you've tied the ruin, but doesn't change the outcome anyway.
Well, actually, like, if I were to still try do something in this position, I would make the exact move that neutrals just made, kind of setting up a 4-point road, but that 4-point road in turn will set up another invasion square for that city, and this is why Martin was sort of second-guessing whether he wants to take the 4 points. He decided that 4 points are 4 points are 4 points, and it is completely worth it. But another route back to the game is not necessarily tying the field. We can actually gambit the field as long as we get 2 extra meeples in the ruin and overrun it with the 4 versus 3 majority. Because in order to equalize the field, we need 2 meeples. In order to equalize the ruin, we need 1. So it's a total of 3. But in order to overrun the ruin, we need 2 meeples and 4 tiles. And we actually have 2 meeples. The problem is the 4 tiles. I can only really see...
How would you accomplish this with 4 tiles?
Okay, 5 tiles for this one.
Okay, 5 I take, of course, but
yeah.
4 without a big city tile.
Well, make that 0.
Yeah.
Because that ruin is now officially covered up. That's a great spatial move here by Bormar, making it physically impossible to... Oh, wait, no. At least neutrals can go here and can hope for the last Dorito and go here and invade on the right through an extender. That's just, like, it's never over till it's over. Okay, now it's over.
That's exactly what I meant 2 minutes ago.
Oh, but I thought you meant the same, but at the bottom, because there was also the same opportunity.
No, on the right side.
Yeah, on the right side is clearly better, yeah.
Yeah, more or less unblockable if you get the pieces. And in the end, even getting... Well, the ruin is at, I think, 21, 22 points right now. Field is 21. Yeah, it could have worked. So overrunning the ruin with your last 2 meeples.
Well, neutral's gonna get quick points. Bormar gets 2, but neutrals gets 4.
I don't get why you're still happy.
I mean, I'm just always trying to find positives in situations.
Not sure why I'm on the stream here. I guess transferring some negativity
For counterbalance, all is good. All is good.
Okay, fine. Just tongue in cheek.
Now, please bring in the negativity, because it's because then I kind of get to do it on my channel without sort of doing it myself.
Okay. Yeah, there's not much left to say about this. I mean, punting on the moves next to Green's 1-point city. That was your biggest chance. Take it. If you don't draw the cap, yeah, well, you've lost the game, but at least take the chance. And not even sure. I think the Dorito is still out there, right? The last one? Yeah, it is. Okay,
the regular,
so
yeah.
Green would have waited a long time, but tough luck.
So Martin invests his last meeple in a 5-point city, which I don't think can be completed. That would be just way too filthy, really. Well,
Last
neutrals can go for that invasion that you were talking about all the time. The tiles are there.
Yeah, why not?
Like, these are your last 5 minutes in the World Carcassonne, in the World Cup of Carcassonne, so you make them count.
So the curve wouldn't have blocked?
The curve would not have blocked, yeah.
Yeah.
He would have gotten the Dorito. He would have gotten the Dorito to invade. So like this. And then would he have gotten...
At least we would have something to cheer for, to cheer about. Now it's... what is the expression? Dead rubber? I think so. Yeah, now he even has to think. I mean, if he'd go there... come on. Yeah, supply another city to Redsfield, why not?
Well, he gets his road. And the extender was drawn by Bormar. Just neutrals knew that it was going to happen, so he wasn't going to go for the invasion. But yeah, very nice that this here pattern is very often overlooked, because players typically think about cities invasions just about these diagonal invasions, like this, right, from the side. But then invasions through the vertical or the horizontal dimension, they're also possible. Too bad we didn't see them. And
yeah, but this was, I think, only viable due to the horse below, because that took away the blocking squares or the counter-attacking squares. But you're right, it's not easy to see.
Yeah, well, at least Martin makes up for his egregious blunder in the last game and finishes this on with style. Scoreboard. Big ruin, big field, all went his way, and he did not let advantage slip, giving a big win for Czechia on the way out. And 4-1 is the final match score, as it will be soon reflected on the scoreboard. So before we do any further parts of the stream, any further analyses, now it's time to actually fix something. Oh man, I clicked something.
And I finish your sentence. I think you're gonna drop another anthem, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you for helping me out. So to congratulate Czechia, all rise for the national anthem of Czechia, if I can click on it properly. There we go. Congratulations to Team Czechia for finishing this one in style. So it's tournaments table stuff. Can you help me out there?
I guess I can, yeah. What do you want to know?
First of all, let's open it up and have a look at what this means for Group E. Now we know that Czechia is not going to qualify for the playoffs in all likelihood, but they are on 2 victories out of 4. Now Malaysia at 0 out of 4, and a tiebreaker which may allow them to overtake 1 or 2 teams in this tournament from the other groups. So can you give us a ballpark of where that would put Czechia overall in their absolute standings in the tournament? Top 20? Top 25?
They are in 3rd place, so with 7 groups, worst case would be 21. Let me check. I have a table ready with all the 3rd place finishers, but that's wonky because some of these actually would be in 1st or 2nd place after the last game, but I guess for now, with a dual difference of 0, yeah, rather 2019th or something like that.
Okay, so still a respectable results. Maybe not what they hoped for after being one of the 3 teams in 2024 who won all their group stage matches, but that's how Carcassonne is. Brutal game, and sometimes you lose a couple of matches. And sometimes you have 1 second left on your clock as well.
Yeah, their problem was the first match versus the USA. 3-2 in favor of the US, and if you flip that, you are in 2nd place in this group, quite likely at least. Although I think Czech's game versus the Netherlands was close as well. Yeah, it was 3-2 as well. Yep, that's Carcassonne. It's close sometimes.
Oh, of course, Oh, wait. Yeah, but Czechia won against Netherlands. Yeah.
Does it matter if you are in, I don't know, 20th, 25th or 30th place? If you don't qualify for the playoffs, it's over.
Well, it does matter in the long term. First of all, it matters a bit for some teams, like for self-confidence and stuff, because, top 20 and top 30 is still not the same. But for practical reasons, it matters for next year, because based on the previous World Team Carcassonne Online Championship performances, teams are put into different pots for drawing the groups for next year. So the higher you finish, the higher the chance you're going to be in a higher pot, which means that your opponents are going to be from a lower pot, which means that your opponents are going to be slightly weaker, easier compared to what they would have been if you were lower rated.
And along comes a country like Finland, and bam, all the pots didn't matter. Are you aware of any published information about the drawing procedure? So, for example, does the gold medal winner just get, let's say, how many teams we have points, or how is the procedure there?
So you mean about the group draw for the at the start of this championship?
Yep. So how do they? How many points do you get if you actually come in on 9th place, for example? That would be interesting to me, at least, because if you know this, then you can at least have motivation or extra motivation. But if it's just simple, it matters, well, that's too what's the word? Vague.
Gotcha. Yeah. So
I need a formula. I'm an IT. I'm a maths guy. I need hard data.
I'll do the best what I can do from my memory, but I think there is a formula. First of all, one thing that I do know is that it is based on the results of the last 3 years. And I think unlike some world rankings for FIFA or IIHF for that matter, by the way, the reason why I have this with this tab open is that there's just a hockey match and the World Championship going on in parallel. Sweden is playing the United States, and the United States are now ahead 4-2. This is the semifinal of the World Hockey Championship. It matters to me and to maybe like 10%, no, like 1% of my viewers or whatever, and that is already enough so that it's going to be there. Yeah, and so there's no rating like there. What there is instead, I think they just take the average of your place that you finished. So let's say if you, for example, Latvia finished what?
Okay.
Third, 8th, no, 3rd, 10th, and 20th. And then this means it was like 33, then that's on average 11th. And we were like 11th team in the pool, something like this.
Okay, yeah, that works and would be actually quite simple. So I'd say a nice option, yeah. And easy to grasp, at least. And by the way, you know where the I's or Y's in my nickname stems from, or not?
Oh yes, of course. I was gonna ask. So for those of you who don't know, this is from Steve Yzerman of Detroit Red Wings.
Yep, exactly. Those who don't know, the Detroit Red Wings are a team in the NHL, so National Hockey League. So I'm one of these 1% of viewers who's interested in ice hockey as well.
Yes. So actually, before so just to work a quick wrap up on W2C. So I think this is the system that they went for, and probably going to go for something similar next year as well. There isn't anything as elaborate with points and different weightings as in the Carcassonne Champions League. It's just previous W2COC results. Yeah. So about this, so the other semifinals, how surprised were you about Denmark versus Canada result? Did you see that coming?
No, I didn't see that coming. I usually don't follow the World Championships. I just was surprised when seeing Denmark on your screen, actually. So my nickname is what are we having? 2025. It's from 1998, I think. 1997, something around that. Somewhere around that. So I'm not as interested in ice hockey nowadays than I was back then. So back then I would have watched all games of the World Championship, for example. And nowadays I just check the scores. sometimes at least.
Gotcha, yeah. Do you have any like
And not
favorite
beat.
players who still play? Because obviously for viewers who are new to hockey, then Steve Yzerman has finished his career a while ago.
Yeah, Steve Eisenman is trying to build a good team over in Detroit. Yeah, mixed results so far. Favorite player right now? I like Leon Draisaitl.
I knew you were
He's
gonna say
yeah,
Leon Draisaitl. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. Recently, I watched a lot of highlights of the Oilers, and yeah, he's just a beast. I mean, most people would go for McDavid there, but no, I stick to Draisaitl, who's, by the way, is it 1 or 2 generations removed from being a Czech himself? I think his father was born in Czechia, and Leon is from Cologne, I think. So back to the match we just witnessed. Circle closed.
Yeah. With Leon Draisaitl, I'm intimately familiar because of the World Championship matches in particular, because there were years where Latvia and Germany would very often in the same group, and typically his last name would be the one which is most frequently uttered by commentators in those matches. So yeah. Anyway, I'm absolutely happy to do more ice hockey, ice hockey stuff instead of
Yeah.
Carcassonne. Really, no. So we have about 33 minutes before the start of the next match. Maybe we should resume 28 minutes from now. Do you prefer just having a 25-minute break, or do you prefer doing some quick game analysis, or doing something else, or doing hands and brain? So what do you feel
Let's
like?
ask your viewers. I have time. I don't need a break. Whatever works for you.
So people are apparently still watching, but I think a lot of people would have tuned out at this point because there's you, me, and our Latvian viewers obviously gonna care about ice hockey, and then maybe like one or two people, and that's probably about it. But I will advertise ice hockey for our viewers because it has helped me. Watching ice hockey has helped me understand how to play meeple advantages better, because I always compare it to how it is played in power play, the 5-on-4 power play. So those of you who don't know, in ice hockey, if one player breaks the rules, he gets kind of eliminated for 2 minutes, and then his team is playing a meeple or people minority rather, and typically it becomes much easier for the opposing team to score. You know what? Let's go for a break and then reconvene at 14:50 UTC. So like a 22-minute break. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, sure.
Alrighty. So thanks for being with us so far. Mexico versus Thailand, soon to follow. I wish good things to you who is still watching this. I'm still Alexey, and with me is still my special guest, Ice Maze of Germany, fellow YouTuber, Carcassonne Master, and the semi-finalist of the Mind Sports Olympiad and the Carcassonne Champions League this year. And we're about to start our second match, one that you eyes were more excited about this. So Mexico versus Thailand. You can see all the lineups on the board. At least all our viewers can see. Before we go into detail about all these players, I just want to hear from you. Thailand, very new team, but they're doing very, very well. At first, Bakshay in the Champions League finished in the top 4. And then trained up a whole team of experts and soon-to-be masters, really. Now they are on 3 victories out of 4. Other than Bakshay, have you played with other Thai players, or do you know much about them?
Not really. I must have played with one of them, with Idinidad. I don't remember that, but he was one of the players I couldn't stream because he red thumbed me. I think 3 or 4 years ago it must have been. Private tab to the rescue there. Else, I might have played versus Gun 007 sometime, but I don't really remember. In this match, though, I guess they are one of the 3 who should win for Thailand to secure the playoff spot here.
Yeah, about the playoff spot. So this is a bit of a complicated dynamic. Maybe before we talk about the tournament situation, just want to ask the same question about Mexicans. Now, Mexico, of course, has been around the block. Players like IMD5, Licio Campo on table 3, Daniel Ayala, the 2022 United States champion, because obviously he played for Mexico at some point, then for United States. But for the World Team Carcassonne All Channel Championships, he plays only for Mexico, so it's a bit complicated when you travel between countries. Have you played with all the Mexicans? Only some of them?
Paulina, I don't remember. Daniel, quite likely. Lichida, Killer, and IMD5 for sure. The rest I'd have to check, actually. I mean, I haven't played all that much on BGA. I think just roughly 1,000 games of Carcassonne or so. I'm not sure.
Which is
1,566, but let me just check.
It sounds
and continue.
About right. Yeah. Well, I have played with most of the Thai team. I would say that Idinidad and Natpira are the second 2 strongest players in my view. Then there's Gano 7, and then there's Chowan in that order. We'll become quibble about this a little bit. Now, the current ratings do not reflect that necessarily. This has been just my experience. Natpira especially has made some spectacular moves, and Thailand's most kind of won my heart when they managed to defeat Ukraine 3-2 earlier in this tournament, which is a feat I didn't think any team in this tournament were going to accomplish. Mexico, of course, I'm not even think there's such a big underdog in this. In fact, I doubt that they're even a underdog at all. So on table 1, Gano 7 is a favorite against Palinha. But on table 2, Daniel Ayala is fully capable of his experience against Natpira, Licio Campo is fully capable against Idinidad, and IMD5 is the highest rated Mexican player at the moment. Oscar Henry is in really, really good form. They could absolutely give a fight to Bakshay. And on table 5, it is a complete coin flip between Vapula and Chowan. So Mexico will be looking forward to deny Thailand the qualification spot. And the way this works, and you're way better with tournament tables than I am, so please correct me if I'm wrong. So Mexico can no longer qualify with 1 victory out of 4. But Yeah, okay, so far I got this right. They can still win this, and if they get 2 victories, they're going to have 4th place in the group, unless Portugal wins big tonight, which is probably not going to happen. If they're going to win against Romania, it's probably going to be close enough, because Romania is a very strong team, but more about that a little bit later, way in the evening. And so Mexico will be just fighting for the overall tournament position. Thailand, though, has not guaranteed themselves the qualification on the to the playoff with 1 loss. If they were to lose again to Mexico right now, and if Romania were to win against Portugal, which is completely doable for Romania, then Romania would jump into the 2nd spot in the group, Thailand would descend into 3rd, and then the question, would Thailand qualify as one of the best 2 third-place teams, or would Thailand not qualify for the playoff?
That depends on how big they lose, and of course on other groups as well. That's the best answer I can give you, at least in short.
Gotcha.
So if they lose, please, the closest loss possible would be 2-3 with 7 to 6 game wins even. That would be preferable. Then they'd have a +3 dual tiebreaker, which could be just enough to secure one of the 2 third best place finishes. But best option here, just dispatch Mexico and be done with it.
Yeah, so winning against Mexico is the only way how they can guarantee themselves a qualification. Now, if they win against...
Well, stop right there. Yeah, you're right. They could come in 3rd place still if they just win 3-2, for example, and Romania would win 5-0, I think. Let me check.
Barely, I guess. Yeah.
Barely, really barely. So Romania would have to win 5-0 and with 10-0 duels, and Thailand would have to win 3-2 and with 6-7 games. So best case for Romania on all tables, and worst case for Thailand with still a win. Then Romania would leapfrog Thailand, but I think that won't happen.
Yeah, so basically everything now is in Thailand's hands. Everything also is in Mexico's hands as well, as we have the Mexican captain here, who, by the way, is not playing today, about which I would also curious to find out why that is the case. Yeah, saying that Mexico will be fighting for honor as well, at the expense of Thailand's playoff chances. Okay, so this one we figured out. As to the duels themselves, now Thailand probably slight favorite due to that table 1 that you mentioned. Gun 07 is indeed significantly higher rated. So then, as for the other 4 tables, who do you want to follow? If you want the closest duel, probably it might be interesting to follow table 5 with the lower rated players, also give somebody lesser known a chance, or to go for the highest level possible of Carcassonne, which would be Bakshay against IMD.
Yeah, I think tables 3 to 4, one of them, they should all be interesting. As you said, Natpira is pretty strong, and Daniel Ayala is no slouch, so that would be great. Pakshi IMD5, though, could be, at least from the Mexican side, a bit faster than the other tables, if I remember correctly, at least.
Not necessarily, no. Oscar did
Not
seem
really.
reasonable.
Yeah, well,
time, yeah.
I might remember wrong. That's okay.
So you're
so
the guest.
not
Any
table
particular
3, I
thing?
guess. Because Otto is covering table 3.
Sure. Let's go with table 4 then. Yeah. Let's go with table 4, and then table 2. Although, Elias saying that Lychee is the fastest. Hi, Sergey in the chat who's supporting Mexico. Do let me know if there are Thai supporters in the chat as well. Anyway, we're now going to be starting. So the plan is table 4 first, then table 2 a little bit later, between Nat Pira and No Slouch. But for now it is Pakshay.
Even if IMD5 would be quite fast, which I might be mistaken there, Pakshay really takes his time. So I guess 12-13 minutes at least for the game.
Probably even more than that. I've seen Pakshay get into time trouble in the Carcassonne Champions League, for example, which is probably a good thing because they come up with creative move and everything. Their peak rating is 813. They are 740 rated at the moment. Player who is in really, really good shape. Oscar now rated 583, which is a bit underrepresentative of their level, really. They have been showing some really strong Carcassonne in the World Team Carcassonne Online Championships and in their casual games that they've been playing for practice as well. Here, they're not the starting player. They're playing the Black Meeples. Pakshay started with the curvier road. We have very clunky position at the start here. Neither side has scored. Pakshay with a bit more features on the board. IMD here trying to build a lip-shaped city, which is why the Thai player is starting a new one whilst also creating 2 platforms for further disruption against this black city over here. And cities like this, they can be sometimes threatening if IMD can draw Dorito tiles on both sides soon enough to cover up. But since you need 4 of them, in all likelihood, if black starts building around very quickly, then red will be able to swoop in and equalize either from the left like this or from the right like this. Straight lines for IMD really discarded because there are no good places on the board to put this at this early stage of the game, so at least he gets himself a little bit of something. He tries to harass Pakshay's city cap a little bit unsuccessfully as the Thai player gets a splitter and gets 4 points for the city cap. First
really clunky. Really clunky position here, so I guess the 2 in the middle might be even blocked sometime down the road.
Yeah, well, at least the crossroads for Pakshay should make things a little bit easier. IMD with the first monastery also kind of make this position open up a little bit, and Pakshay chose to continue his road directly, which was not the only possible option. This was also a move over here, and this was also a move continuing the road indirectly and putting further disruption for black, something that I would have preferred perhaps. Black does get 2 extra points to finally score something, and a little bit disruption against this red meeple over here. Also a 4-point road now waiting to happen for black. Pakshay in the meantime finishes yet another city on the right and drops a farmer for 6 points and some green squares for further development.
Yeah, the city by black in the middle looks pretty awkward, especially with 3 road Doritos already gone. And his road on the left side of it. So tricky to get out there.
So then there's a chance. If we can't get out there, how about we drown our opponents as well? A move that I would be seriously considering here for red is going over here. Yeah, exactly. Trying to tie the fates of this here 5-point road together with our 3-point city. And this is exactly what he does.
Yeah, and that's why I actually would have placed the crossroad at the top of the road, just to prevent this option for black.
Oh, yeah. So either an oversight for Oscar, no, not from Oscar, but from...
No, it's not an oversight. The move by Pakshi was definitely okay because the way he played it, at least he doesn't need to get the dagger, but it was quite unlikely that black would block the road at the bottom. Maybe with a vertical, or in this case, a horizontal splitter, but I don't see it actually.
Gotcha. So you're thinking, let me just try and draw that horizontal splitter idea on the board, assuming that the crossroad is not here. It is quite unlikely indeed. But honestly, like the block at the top, not the most likely scenario as well. In fact, in order to accomplish this, IMD drew pretty much the best tile in the deck for this purpose. So this was the last tile of its kind. No more cow tiles are remaining. In the meantime, IMD is starting a really weird looking city in Pakshe's field. I'm pretty sure there must be reasons for this. Pakshe might break it a bit later, but for now he needs to score with the monastery. I presume here for 5 points and city control is an option, but the downside is that if we do this, we're giving back a 3-point road for our opponent to score. Another alternative is to go here at the top and score 4 points, simply equalizing and controlling IMD's monastery whilst also developing the field a little bit further. And there's also another option going over here for 3 points whilst controlling IMD's road, potentially further restricting it, potentially later going over here, and then playing against both road of the city. So really 3 placements that I see. Do you have a preference here, Eyes?
In this situation, I choose the simple move, so next to Red's city on the right side.
So the one that would control the city, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he does not go for it. He goes for a more normal sort of move. No, actually, no. The move that you said, that was the normal one. He goes for something that's a bit...
I'm not sure. Jürgen Klopp is the normal one. I think both moves are definitely fine. More advanced would have been to limit Black's road on the left side.
Yeah, well, now at the very least, that road is going to have at least some problems, right? Because if IMD finishes this road, it already exposes this square in the city. And once IMD drew this road Dorito, which was a crucial tile, I think that he will be now looking to try and complete this city. Because you know what? Still 3 road Doritos in a splitter that fit into this square. And then still 3 starting tiles that fit into this square. And it's not that easy for Pakshe to do something about this. Okay, so maybe if he goes here at some point, but then IMD will have a chance to defend over here. And if Pakshe goes at the bottom, IMD will still have a chance to defend this square. In the meantime, IMD is trying to break Pakshe's road to delay meeple retrieval, as simple as that. Pakshe is threatening a city on the left with 1 simple city cap, and so IMD is waiting for a city cap to try and invade. Does not get it. He gets a curve instead. Several options here. Probably the top equity move would be to go here, finish the monastery, start another loop, something like this. Another option is to start restricting this city, at least delaying its completion. But the downside of this is that whilst restricting the city, we will also be eliminating an attacking platform, which we could use to connect to that city. So the question is, do we block or do we not block?
There are so many city caps still out there of, I think, all types even. So I wouldn't block, I just risk it. Take the road, yeah, suck it up. 12-point city, but Pakshi can't meeple the city cap, for example, because he had no meeple in hand.
And then maybe as Oscar we take advantage of this, we can go for a 5-point monastery over here, which really seems like the only move. He's just thinking about the orientation of the road, really. And there are some subtleties regarding this. Choose the road to the left, and he's going to control that city cap, and he's going to take advantage of this. In the meantime, some more destructive move from the Thai player. making so that there are now only 2 tiles that fit into the square, and even if IMD gets them, he'll be finishing a city in Pakshe's field, whereas with the previous configuration, he would be dropping a farmer over here, so that's a very strong move from the Thai player. In the meantime, IMD is not taking 4 quick points, but instead he tries to complete his city in the center, which makes a lot of sense. The disadvantage of that move is, first of all, that we give away the city cap to our opponent, and second, that we're finishing the city in a bit of an awkward order. Ideally, we want to get the Dorito first of all, so that we can liberate our road meeple, and second, so that we don't free up Pakshe's meeple too early, because there are some scenarios. Actually, the most negative scenario that is here is that black gets all his 2 meeples blocked and Pakshe gets all of his meeples liberated. Quite unlikely, but still possible. And the Thai player is now contemplating a straight line. Several options here. The most natural move is probably to go and attack this city. There are 2 downsides, however. First of all, if Oscar gets a curve, he can free up his road meeple whilst also indirectly defending his city, and this is not something that Pakshe wants. And to prevent that, he might be enticed into going over here and restricting this road a little bit further, or doing something else entirely, like developing his monastery. He does go for the block, and IMD immediately going to defend. We're only going to quibble about the orientation of the city cap, which I think best goes, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Yeah, only 1 road to remaining, so bottom it is.
Actually, yeah,
you'd still put it to the left?
Maybe, yeah, because there's some like additional considerations about this. Well, IMD now gets a curve, which he's not going to use to recover his road meeple, but instead he's going to defend this city over there. I just hate dropping a city cap in my opponent's field. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, you do that anyway, no matter the orientation, so...
But then at least you are the one who takes the city cap if you drop it, like, to your...
Yeah, okay. That's worthy consideration. But then you could get blocked to a 50-50. But considering all cows are gone, that's not really likely. Because I think Pakshe wouldn't waste any city cap. Maybe a Dorito, but I don't think so. So yeah.
By the way, it would have worked. You would have had this.
Yeah, that's no argument. It would have worked.
I know. But there's
Hindsight.
another argument. Like, imagine if with this configuration, then IMD, like with the city cap like this, IMD were to draw a road Dorito. He gets to go here, and he gets to drop a farmer upon the completion of this road and then invade through the city. Now what's going to happen? I mean, he's probably going to get a curve at some point, but then if he gets a curve, he's not going to be able to drop a farmer. And ideally, you want to be dropping a farmer here before the completion of that city so that you invade the main field through the city for the sake of efficiency.
Yeah, but he could block Red's monastery right now and drop the farmer to at least get on the field if Red completes their road on the left or the ninja way on the right side atop the monasteries even.
That's a beautiful suggestion.
But he goes for the simple road, which of course is fine, but...
It's not, it's an oversight. Your move was way better.
Your move was ambitious enough.
Yeah, because I see now Pakshe gets the last road Dorito, and now Pakshe gets to finish his road and drop another farmer and just enjoy a vastly superior position. IMD still finishes his city, so he's going to be just fine, at least for now. Equalize on the scoreboard, but the stronghold on the field of Pakshe looks rather daunting to me.
Well, there are still 2 right-handed daggers available to close Black City, and he has 4 meeples in hand, so why not drop a farm there? Maybe even now pre-complete a road, for example, which you then could take, quite likely. Still crossroads out there, I think. Yeah, That works, of course, but
That's actually quite a neat
still,
move. Yeah.
yeah, of course, at least you can use curves there. But it only accomplishes the one thing. Plus 3 points, okay.
Yeah, it's just quite efficient. He's also building up a city next to Red's monastery, which is a bit iffy on one hand, but then he can maybe meeple it a little bit later for further control. In the meantime, Pakshay is munching on quick points as he finishes a monastery with another monastery, now finishes the road on the left, unifying the small 9-point field of black and red, which are not that much of a consequence, but IMD finishes at city at the top for 8 points, drops a farmer. He'll be looking to secure a field majority there. Pakshay with a scoring tile, he can take 3 points at the bottom or on the left, trying to obstruct the monastery a little bit. Chooses to go for the latter.
Yeah, and IMD could now attack the left field by closing the city.
Well, actually, he could attack both fields by closing the bottom city and going for the double ninja.
Yeah, that would be great, but still 2 crossroads out there. And
Although, I
it would
guess you
have
only
worked.
get blocked on one side.
Yeah, quite likely. But he already needs a curve up top and needs the dagger on the right side. And I think there were only 2 curves left. So only 1 in the deck now. Let's actually check the count. Yep, Pakshi goes for the field attack. And if it doesn't work, at least he might get a 6-point field in the end. Pakshi's city up top, by the way. I'm not sure taking this actually is great because there are no Doritos left, no splitter. Only the quadruple city tile. And then you'd need 3 caps to close this, so it's more or less a ruin. And I'm not sure this is a wise meeple investment at this stage of a game and with 2 field fights.
And Pakshay in the meantime drops an insurance meeple just to rub it in. Now if IMD even gets his dagger tile, which is still a big if, he's going to help the invasion of Pakshay into the main field. So that's a very common tactic, how to bully your opponent with your meeple majority. Just go over here and say to black, if you finish your big city, you're going to let me into the farm. Not something that black wants. In the meantime, red is dropping yet another farmer to secure a connection either here or at the top for a standard invasion. He's probably going to cash in on it right now. Wait, what's the huh?
Yeah, Pakshi's only problem is that he can't use this dagger for his field on the right side, bottom right. That would be sweet, but at least he could score the 4 points at the bottom. Or attack the field on the left side.
I would probably go for the 4 points.
Yeah, he might have even, instead of taking the 6-point field, attacked the 12-point field. There's still another dagger out there, so if it would get blocked, then it would be a 50-50 quite likely. But I think the 6 points should work for him with the 20-point scoreboard lead here.
In the meantime, we're turning a little bit into a radio report for a moment because we get news that the video is lagging, which is a bit weird. I'm going to try and figure out what's going on at the moment whilst giving an accurate a picture as possible of what's going on. So Bakshay invades the field on the right. IMD drops a farmer to invade the field from the bottom. He's looking to secure a 3 versus 2 majority on the field, which is currently now is 5 cities strong, so 15 points in the future, and a dagger is drawn by Bakshay, which is used to score 7 points in his little teeny tiny field. 4 points for the city, 3 points for the cap. IMD is not going to connect. He is getting himself a city cap to score 7 points, but it's going to stay at 7 points. And Bakshay, now to rub it in, completes IMD's city, but takes a 7-point road and the majority on the big field. And with that, he's going to win this with a massive difference. So 153 points is what Bakshay scored, likely to be this week's record.
Definitely up there, yeah.
Yeah, and 114 for IMD is going to result in a loss. Let's see if they manage to do something.
On table 1, Gun 0007 won their first game. The others are still playing.
So far,
but have only a few tiles remaining.
So far, things are looking roughly as we predicted, though. I would predict that IMD puts up a bit more of a fight in their second one. But let's see.
Yeah, their chances were great until the city in the middle was killed. I think if they had closed this one, it would have been another game.
So, Bakshay is now the starting player, places a red meeple on the road after scoring 4 points. IMD starting a new city at the bottom in the safest possible location, and now looking to decide whether to take a second city or to play a bit more conservatively and add it to the third. He goes for the aggression, which I did not expect, but certainly with a shielded tile, it's super tempting. Bakshay with the only possible location for a city of his own. IMD now with a road tile and several options here. He could either start a 3-point road at the bottom, which bends into a city. Unfortunately, this meeple does seem to be a bit extra, actually. I don't think you need to invest a guy.
Nope, definitely not. Especially not if one horse is already gone. So Lychee won their game on table 3.
So yeah, in the meantime, the city of Pakshay is sort of getting blocked a little bit on the left, and he responds with a defense, which is also a counter block against IMD's city at the bottom. IMD, luckily for him, draws a crossroads to secure his city and his road. Pakshay, with another road Dorito tile, is looking to decide whether to continue his city at the bottom whilst doing a self-restriction, but also making sure that it cannot be easily invaded, or leaving the city as is and going on the right and trying to invade over here.
Yeah, I would have liked Black's extender on the right side of his city. So if Red were to attack from the top, you'd have at least the option of blocking 2 red meeples with a big city tile. So the one on the road and then the one which would have attacked your city. But it worked out for them as is.
Right. Yeah, although I'm going to try and draw your idea on the board, which I think should be visible at this point. Yeah, so like this idea of trapping this poor guy. I mean, he can still trap it later, because at the very least what IMD has going for him is that the city is very, very likely to be completed. He needs only 1 city cap. And then after he draws the city cap to rub it in, he can even pressure this here meeple. And now IMD starts a new monastery in a very interesting location. 2 points, but opens up an attacking platform against Pakshay's city and forces him to react. Also creates a 5-point road, which he is likely to meeple. In the meantime, Pakshay responds with another spectacular move, taking 2 points instead of 3, but also setting up an attacking platform against this here black city. IMD now, with the crossroads needed in several places. He can go here for 3 points. He can go here at the bottom for 4 points. He can go super aggressive and meeple this road end, and then try to not get blocked and get a curve over here and score 6 points. Or he could go over here and take 2 points and finish this road here, but instead he does none of those things. He takes 2 points at the top simply for the sake of denying the invasion platform for Pakshay. So at least Pakshay's gambit worked out in the short term, as the 4-point road on the right was left free for them. Straight line for IMD.
Red city on the right?
I presume so. He chooses not to, which I don't think is correct. I think harassing of the city is better than the 1 monastery point. Regardless, Pakshay's next move was certain. The starting tile finally gets himself a 16-point city and drops even an early farm, which is a fantastic farmer with 9 points and the chance for further development. And IMD at least catches up a little bit with a 14-point city off his own. Meeple's a new city cap. Pakshay now with the starting tile, probably looking to continue his city on the right and start breaking IMD's road, given the fact that there are only 3 crossroads remaining. It's a very annoying road to deal with, but many players would be tempted to go over here and defend their meeple, which is not necessarily wrong, but just feels a little bit weak in this instance.
Yeah, but in this case, he could drop a second farmer, so this changes the equation.
On which side do you drop the farmer then? On that one or the other one?
Either. I'd use the right side just to prevent Black from... Well, although Black would rather close his city, and now he can't really add anything next to it, but just to prevent Black from taking it on the right side and then connecting while closing the road at the bottom. But left side works for Pakshay. I mean, there are still 6 straights in the deck, so could work out for him.
In the meantime, 2 quick points for IMD with the horse tile, developing his unappealing looking city at the bottom. It still could turn into something tangible, but from the perspective of Mexican fans, I'm a bit worried of the low number of road Doritos remaining. We kind of need these city plus road tiles in a variety of locations. So Bakshay uses his monastery to equalize IMD's monastery, and this is a variance reducing move, and it's pretty interesting because this is what worked very well for him in the previous game, which was not the most traditional, the most high-scoring way to deal with things. But the point of using a monastery like this for fewer points than normal is that it's shares multiple squares with black, and it makes sure that black cannot stack monasteries himself, because red is a bit ahead, but if black were to get across a curve here for a road and then another monastery here, black would rapidly develop a monastery cluster. Now it is actually not possible at all, because there aren't really, well, there isn't a way to place a secondary monastery here unless it's, of course, a road monastery. IMD makes a move which is very creative. You got it at the very least.
Yeah.
So he takes 0 points and he gambles on a 6-point road, hoping to get it. It looks a bit desperate, but then Bakshay doesn't have a curve.
Yeah, and IMD also needs curves on the right side as well, so I'm not really sure if I had gone for that.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think it's as correct, but it is fun to watch for sure.
Definitely was a euphemism by me. So, nay, never.
I appreciate it. In the meantime, man, IMD is now about to get suffering. Oh, lordy. So this here move from Bakshay is just an incredible annoyance, because there are only 2 crossroads remaining into this square, and also all 3 roses are out. So if one Dorito tile is drawn here, then this is a way for red to trap 2 black meeples, effectively winning the game almost on the spot.
IMD has to save now. He has to save.
Yeah, it's actually is a fantastic tile, because not only does he get to save that road meeple, then suddenly his city at the bottom becomes a little bit more threatening. He can go for the double Dorito completion pattern, and if Bakshay is not fortunate enough to draw an invasion tile, which he doesn't, although what Bakshay does draw is a crossroads, which is probably even better because it was one of the 2 tiles, actually the last tile that fits into the square, so this meeple is now officially trapped, and to rub it in, he's going to now play against the poor little black meeple at the top. But the saving grace for black, the Dorito, the city completion pattern with all these shields, going to be worth upwards of 18 points, and he gets it. 16 though. No.
Yep.
16, yeah.
Thankfully, else this would be not that interesting.
Oscar is ahead of the scoreboard.
Yeah, and Pakshi's field on the left side is only at 9 points right now.
Yeah, and this also actually, why this here move seems to be quite creative, because it severely restricts that field.
Yeah, not really. There are still 7 curves out there, so then all the left side is on your field, and especially the just dropped 2 city caps by Pakshi.
Yeah, that's actually a very strong move by Bakshay. Honestly, I would be tempted to just use the splitter as a point scoring tile on the right. IMD just takes quick points on the right, which Bakshay didn't do, but Bakshay now going to score on the left at some point. Well, not now. They have a 6-point monastery in a perfect location at the bottom. Which
Pakshi has the meeple majority, so I think dropping the splitter on the left side is fine. He just plays the long game, knowing full well that someone will take a curve to take the 6-point road, and then he's okay because he already has 2 farmers there, and black doesn't have the manpower really to counter that, unless he gets to close his city or at least one of the monasteries. And about his city, there's only 1 starting tile left, no rows, but still 3 daggers. So any harassment with the curve, for example, or perfectly, of course, with the quadruple crossroads would be quite nice for Pakshi here.
Well, he is looking for, if not a crossroads, but a sequence of road tiles to build his monastery at the bottom. He does get a dagger tile to cash in earlier on that city cap setup. Quadruple crossroads for IMD, though. Should be a fantastic tile, it seems, but no obvious locations where to use it. I mean, you could take 3 points at the bottom, but I hate helping Pakshe's road.
No. Just set up the 4-point road below your road monastery.
Oh, yes. That's actually quite lovely.
Yeah, only 2 straights remaining, but still. Yeah, taking 2 points is fine.
But your suggestion was better. And at the very least, what I would have considered doing is maybe gambling for the last starting tile, which obviously wouldn't have worked. Taking 2 points at the top of my monastery, just so that it would sort of restrict our city cap toward the starting tile. But if we were to get a starting tile, we would also score 3 points for a road. But then it wouldn't have worked.
Not really. Not with 2 daggers still remaining. I mean, as is, you still have, you still had 3 city caps, now 2, to close your city, and if need be, take the 6-point field as well. I wouldn't limit that to a 50-50 if I don't have to. So let's see if Pakshi picks the 10-point city at the bottom. Yeah, he does.
I presume you want to block that a little bit, although this is really not a great blocking tile, is it?
It doesn't do anything, actually. It takes away...
Actually, it doesn't...
There's only the 1 rotary remaining. I think all other city plus road pieces are gone.
Oh, wow. He goes for that.
That's more like it. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, but he doesn't get any help from the deck.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate because he was looking forward to finishing his top monastery. Now it's restricted to just 1 road Dorito remaining. So maybe he's looking to restrict the city at the bottom that Pakshe is building, and then just hoping to get Dorito tiles himself.
Yeah, and Pakshi gets Black's city caps. Tough, but at least Black has the scoreboard lead.
Somehow, yeah, it seems a bit weird that they do, to be honest, given the fact that Pakshe has just finished a 9-point monastery. Now, Oscar's adding 2 points from the curve. And I was looking to finish one of his many monasteries, at least 4 monasteries on the board. Pakshe is now pre-building a loop. Big tile for IMD, not great uses except for breaking a city cap at the bottom, or pre-building a ruin, which I'm not sure is necessarily a good thing. It would actually eliminate a city cap in his field because the divider still fits there. Instead, he goes for further blocking. Loop road for Pakshe catching up on the scoreboard. IMG desperately needs to get Meeples back. And straight line, this is the perfect tile.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So
the cow, by the way, at the bottom, also very well played.
Oh, because it actually does basically kill off that city.
Yeah.
The disadvantage, of course, is that Pakshe was able to take advantage of the 7 points at the bottom, not at the bottom, but in his main field, using the last remaining splitter tile. But IMD still ahead on the scoreboard and has another curve. Well, maybe we can just... I don't know.
Yeah, crucial would be for IMD to get the rotary to take the ruin up top. Is this? It's even with the shield, so 9 points plus the one for the monastery for 0 meeple investment effectively. This should be a winning route for him. Yeah, he goes for the block at the bottom, so flipping for the Rotorito.
And that's why I love this move. He figures that Rodorito is crucial and he might...
Yeah, and Pakshi knows it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Pakshi anticipates. He just spends his last meeple on the 7-point ruin, making sure that IMD cannot get a meeple back from the monastery without helping him. A curve from IMD... It's tough. I mean, I guess he just builds up one of the monasteries and then you wait for the final dagger, which I think is still there. With the dagger, you can score, what, 9? You can get a 6-point field, plus you get your city back at the top.
Yeah, the dagger would be the winning tile for black here. I mean, no crossroads, no straights, so red's monastery is stuck. Red won't get any meeple back except the city meeple on the right side with the Dorito. Or maybe the one at the bottom. Not anymore, I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting move from IMD because he's blocking that shielded Dorito, trying to prevent Bakshay from getting, 5 easy points. But really, it's a move that blocks only 3 points because if Bakshay gets the road Dorito, he could just add 2 points at the top to his ruin.
Yeah, IMD needs to score now, and I think he should win this game.
He gets the 4 points
no matter the dagger.
Well, Bakshay gets a dagger for 1 point. IMD gets a city cap to use on a field, maybe. Then also trying to set up a road Dorito. He could also meeple a 4-point ruin, but that would be...
He could still attack the ruin. Sorry, up top. There's one tube extender still available. I'm not sure he even needs that.
I don't think he needs that, but even if he does, that would be a bit of a dangerous attack because it can be blocked with the road Dorito, right? Because Bakshay can go here. So that would be only 1 in 6 chance, in fact, of success, rather than 1 in 3.
I think it's hard. I think black is at -5.
Ooh.
And if that's the case, he might need to attack. Or maybe just there's still another Dorito out there. Maybe just set up a 5 or 6 point ruin at the bottom next to Pakshi's city. So right now go left of the Dorito and then hope to get one of the 2 remaining Doritos on your last turn.
I mean, either the regular one or the road one. Yeah, this is also an option. But then we also know that Bakshay is going to get the other one, and so Bakshay is going to continue a little bit. And that's why IMD decides to just add a monastery point. But I'm surprised that this move was made without a farmer. Because if you were to go there with the farmer, he could then later score 4 extra points by completing the shared city on the right with the road Dorito.
Yep, that's exactly another option I wanted to mention.
But even that option would have additional problems because Bakshay has the positional advantage, being the starting player and everything. If IMD were to go that route and successfully draw the road Dorito, he would give a meeple back to Bakshay, which Bakshay could reinvest for at least 4 points at the bottom. So really not much IMD can do. Yeah, 4-point ruin, and what is that, like a 2-point loss or something? 4-point loss.
Yeah, 3 points, I think. But it's really tough to listen, talk, and count at the same time. What are we having? No, 6. but still quite close.
Still,
If he gotten the dagger, that's effectively the piece he needed.
that's effectively it. But you know also what, Eyes? Your initial suggestion, the 1 in 6 chance, would have worked. Because IMD got himself this invasion tile to attack the ruin on the left. And Bakshay didn't actually get a tile to block. And this would have won IMD the game. So he had this 1 in 6 chance. And given the fact that he was behind, maybe 1 in 6 was the best that he could do. Maybe that was a miss.
Maybe. I don't see, although... No, I don't see another way, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah. How else can you gonna compensate the missing points? So it seems to me that he had to just go for your suggestion, 1 in 6 chance, and it still beats 1 in 0. Well, it still beats 0 in 6 chance, and it would have worked. It's especially painful to miss endgame moves when you draw the tiles that would make your idea work.
Yeah. It's tough to miss them, no matter if it would have worked or not, I'd say. So you have to find the best move, and if your only option is to go for the 1 in 6 chance, then you go for it. And it's 16%. It happens.
Well, this duel concluded relatively quickly. Bakshay winning both games, giving 1 match point to Thailand. What's next for us?
Lychee won on table 2, and the other 3 are finishing their second games right now. So at most 2 tiles, no, 1 tile remaining now.
Gotcha. So I've just opened Daniel Ayala versus Natpira, and here Daniel is trailing by 8 points on the scoreboard. However, some blue meeples are on farms. Righty. I don't think we're going to have quite enough time to analyze this position, so let's just see how it ends. And we're going to catch up with the chat a little bit. Hi, FZ. Hi, Sonan. Hi, Nico. Hi, Rambleback. Congratulations on your upset earlier. Hi, Lidio. Yeah, so the screen freezing is an issue. Hopefully now to a bit of a lesser extent, so let me know how it's going on. Not that much that I can do about it at this point, other than just hope and make very audio descriptive commentary, I guess. Apologies for the inconveniences.
Yes. Palinja equalized the duel on table 1, so at least 1 decider. And Vapula did the same on table 5.
Alrighty, Mexico can still make it. Good to know.
Yep.
This is looking really good for Daniel, because I see a lot of cities on the field that is controlled by 2 blue meeples, and he's probably going to take this one down.
Yeah, 24-point farm should be enough.
And so we have ourselves another decider.
Yep. Just great. That's what we hope for. 5 deciders. Well, we get 3. We won't complain.
The big 24-point field is being scored, and actually only 2 points win for Daniel, because Natpira had other features on the board.
Yeah, hence the should be enough, nah? You never know, at least if you don't follow a game.
Well, so the next game is starting, the decider is starting in a minute or so. In the meantime, looking at Daniel's profile, I like how it's, I like the description, won the 2022 USA National Championships, then went to the World Cup in Essen, which didn't go well for me.
Yeah, just ask Ralph about his last World Cup, and you know what not going well means.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the World Cup is a crapshoot anyway, so you just have to get a lucky day maybe to get into the semis, and then all's possible. Goes for any tournament for that matter with a Swiss system and 5 or 6 games. So I really prefer tournaments like the Champions League, for example, with at least best of 3s.
So this is something that Carcassonne has to learn from competitive Scrabble. At the moment, I'm playing in a Scrabble league, which is called the British Scrabble Elimination Championships, and here all the duels are best of 7 at the very least. In the first round is best of 7, in the second round is best of 9, then best of 11, best of 13, and the final is best of 15. So yeah.
Yeah, Britain, home of snooker, and you know where it's coming from. They are even more extreme, at least at the World Championship. How long does a game of Scrabble take?
An hour, actually. It's longer than Carcassonne.
Okay. Yeah, well, I think with Carcassonne, at least with the World Championship, they would need 2 days, and then could really go for a nicer mode. But I don't see that coming, at least not in the next 5 years or so.
Yeah, so all prestigious Scrabble tournaments are multi-day, actually, and this is something where logistics for Carcassonne could be a little bit difficult in that regard. Well, in any case, we have a game going on, but nothing much has been happening. Daniel is the starting player with his bright blue meeples. Natpiro with his not less bright red is the one with 4 points on the scoreboard from the city completed in the center of the board. Daniel with some uninspiring city caps, which will eventually score him a little bit of something, maybe right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he were to use this particular city cap as an invasion tile against the city that Natpira is developing in the top part of the board. Not yet. Natpira is getting himself a curve as Daniel uses his city tile to free up one of his 2 city caps.
I think Daniel hoped to block the city actually, and I think Natpira should now defend there just to prevent the limitation to the starting tile.
But instead he goes for something more aggressive. If you can't defend, I mean you could, but instead he wants to block his opponent's meeple. Instead, it ain't gonna work because Daniel gets himself a crossroad tile, and he decides whether it's worth meepling the road after this, and the answer is probably yes, because you don't want to give away an easy road to Natpira. An alternative for Daniel is to not do nothing about it, and then block Natpira's meeple instead. Natpira's road meeple.
And taking 2 points.
Yeah. And the strategic idea there is, because as blue, we still have a decent chance of blocking red city and the left. And if we manage to do that, then we block our own road meeple, block our opponent's road meeple, and then enjoy a 2-to-1 meeple advantage for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I actually like that. Okay.
What about this move, though? It's also pretty interesting. No blocking, but an invasion of the road, hoping to share those points, and then trying to set up another 3-point road next to his road, which only he can claim.
Yeah, but a 3-point road, and with any straight, you'd give a 5-point road, or possible 5-point road to your opponent. So, not really a fan.
Yeah, that's
And
actually a very good point that you would be giving this back this 5 point road like this. But in the meantime, the city at the top is getting continued. Natpira as the giraffe next and 2 points. Daniel restricts the city towards one of the 2 remaining starting tiles, and Natpira with a further self-restriction, which actually is a form of defense, because now there are 2 tiles that fit here, 2 tiles fit here for roughly 55 chance that he's going to successfully draw. And then all he needs to do is get something like a rose over here, and then he's golden. He has himself like a 50-something% condition how he could get himself a rather sizable advantage. Players exchange quick points. Daniel with a 3, Natpira with 4. Daniel gets...
By the way, could you turn the sound of the moves a bit down?
Oh yeah. This one I can do. I mean, I can turn it off entirely, but let's just leave something.
Yeah, the defense by red actually quite nice. Also eliminates an attacking square. He just needs to get the rose, as you've mentioned, and blue just got the 3rd starting tile. So quite unlikely now for red to still close the city. Will be interesting to see if they even go there, if they get a dagger.
Yeah, that's it kind of depends on the stage of the game. So at that point, you got to decide, like, is threatening this city for a 50% chance enough, or like important enough to spend a dagger on?
Yeah, or even with the rose right now, you could just get the 4 points at the bottom, or maybe liberate your road meeple and prevent blue's connection there. So it's rarely a case when a specific tile has only one use.
So Daniel uses a dagger, the other kind of dagger, to finish a 6-point city instead of claiming another city on the right. Enjoys a scoreboard lead at the moment, but Natpira is about to cash an 8-point city on the left and another 4-point city on the left as well, with the very well-known consideration of splitter support, I guess we could call this. Natpira with the first monastery of his own and several good spots. So option 1, oh, that was not my option 1, but it looks like a solid choice, equalizing Daniel's monastery spots and making it a bit harder for him to stack, although not impossible. This is something that we've noticed in all 3 games.
But actually, I would have placed the road piece to the left to have a better chance of stacking monasteries myself there.
Yeah, I completely agree. There was slightly stronger, and also there's a greater variety of road ends that you can use, which should benefit you. Yeah, and also in general, because we're so short on starting tiles, just that whole configuration of having a road sticking into a field is slightly more blockable than normally would be the case at this stage of the game. So I can easily imagine Daniel getting a monastery for stacking on the left side, and then finishing the monastery, and then maybe somehow blocking that period's little road piece that's sticking out of his monastery. But rare, but not impossible.
Yeah, and in a case where you already need field crossroads elsewhere, the option of taking 2 points there isn't really present, at least. No, that's wrong. Blue needs the field crossroad. I'm sorry. Then... yeah, but still road to the left.
Well, actually, in that period does need the field crossroads. He needed to score 3 points on the right and also block the road connection. Speaking of which, it's something that he could do with this tile, but I'm not sure that he should. This is a very interesting move. With the rose that Natpira is holding right now, he can use it in several places. Option 1, we finish one of the cities here, which would be the highest scoring move. Option 2, we go for quick points over here. We get 4 points for the city cap. Option 3, we split the roads and start a new city. Option 4, we go over here. We take a 1-point move. We preserve a 37% chance of completing this city over here. And we also set up potential blocking ideas against the blue meeple on the left. So between these plentiful options, what's your preference, Utse, and how would you go about making that decision?
First of all, I'd take a look at the scoreboard, and I think he isn't behind enough to go for the city in the middle, given the suboptimal completion rate there.
But the extra
taking a
blocking
city on
value.
left actually is fine because you still have caps to close the one left. And yeah, I'm not sure. My gut says go for the big city anyway. But the 50-50 is just annoying.
That is true, but look at what happened. So he went with your first suggestion. He closed the city for 8 points. And as a result, Daniel was forced to block himself. Well, basically to restrict his own city with the quadruple city top because that was the only legal placement for this. Players have exchanged quick points since then. Daniel probably now going to connect the fates of the two cities, or maybe not. Maybe Daniel, who has now started a new city on the right, can try and continue it somewhat using a shielded tile, or maybe he can go for this standard pattern with multiple Doritos, and I believe I have 5 in the deck, so this here city completion is still possible. And then that Peter would need to struggle a little bit and spend a couple of tiles himself to try and accomplish that block.
Actually, only one Dorito would kill this city off completely, so not really sure that would trouble Natpira at all.
Well, it would trouble him a little bit because Natpira needs Doritos in other places. Like, he needs to harass Daniel's city on the right, for example, and he would be adding points to blue. And also, if he gets a road Dorito, he actually will be forced to block himself in addition to blocking Natpira. Because, so if he gets a field Dorito here, then this square would be restricted to a starting tile just as this, making the city permanently blocked.
Yeah, field Dorito would be the worst case, definitely. But actually, it's a tricky situation for Daniel here. Yeah, sure, he could even consider killing his own city on the left side to just kill Red City, but he's not in the lead here right now. So why would you? And connecting the cities up top, why? There's no reason to do that.
Unless you want
adding
to
the cow. Yeah.
Unless you want to create like a 9-point monastery spot or something.
Yeah, if you really want to go for volatility.
Well, he's going to go for volatility.
Yeah, now he has to. I think that without a shield, he would have just added it to Red's small city on the right side. But the shield, well, nobody likes to put a shielded piece on an opponent's city just like that.
Some people do.
Yeah, in some situations. I give you that. But why does he think about the move now? Because the volatility actually doesn't really matter. Red won't use the road monastery there.
Why not,
at
actually?
Least, I don't think so. Well, actually, well, they have still 2-3 meeples to liberate. Yeah, maybe they would. You're right. Maybe they actually would.
But then also
juicy 9-point field.
Yeah, there are a lot of actually potential fields there, because if that monastery square were to be used by some, it would create another 9, potentially 12-point field in the left part of the board. So now we're in the stage of the game where we're drawing all those city caps, which creates these little teeny tiny fields, which are maybe not so teeny tiny anymore. Red is now ahead on the scoreboard anyway. Daniel still has a city on the left which is alive, which honestly looks like a threat that he can make, but he has a very interesting other use for this tile. Instead of developing the city at the left, he could just connect the roads and maybe even drop a 6-point farm or something if he sees fit, because that 6-point farm could very easily, with just one measly curve, develop into a 9, potentially 12, with the road monastery potentially 15-point farm. On the other hand, you want to make these kind of moves with the regular curve rather than the curve with the Dorito, but given the fact that there are only 3 of the regular curves remaining, maybe it's not time to be efficient.
Yeah, and the additional upside is he blocks the 3-point road, which red would use.
Right.
Or could use, let's say.
I'm gonna even go and say would, because Daniel already needs the 3-point road in another spot.
Yeah, there are only 2 straights left, so, well, a teeny tiny consideration on top.
So the farmer has gone for 6 points. Daniel has a chance to develop that field right now by using the city cap as a curve and kind of dropping it in his own field. It's not necessarily that this is the play here. He could easily try and just continue his city on the left and just try to build up a big city. Honestly, when your opponent has only 1 meeple, trying to build a big city is a reasonable threat to try to accomplish. Or instead, he could try to make something weirder by maybe starting to block that Pyrrhus city in his field on the right, that little city cap. Instead, he goes for an invasion, which surprises me with 4 tiles remaining. It's a very volatile move. I'm not sure if he is far enough behind to do that, but it is working out for him so far, as Natpiro does not get any blocking tiles just yet, simply continues the road next to his monastery at the bottom. Daniel tries to restrict the city cap of Natpira.
Ooh.
And Natpira with a very risky move, but he's gonna succeed. He's gonna block 2 meeples of Daniel whilst keeping one of his meeples open, and that should be just absolutely devastating for the Mexican really. So he tries to climb back, he tries to fight for the city in the left. Only 2 tiles remaining until completion. Natpira doesn't seem to care that much, simply scores 3 quick points.
Yeah, the extender by red with, I think, 4 big city tiles out of 20. So 20% chance to go horribly wrong. I'm not sure if I would have used that move. Just adding the extender next to Blue's dagger would have accomplished a bit more, I think.
Well, I guess he was just trying to go extra greedy with this, because not only does he get to block, but also he gets these extra points and expansion squares for this city. Like, not that he needed them necessarily. I mean, of course, your suggestion was just a more precise and risk-free or less risky way of doing things. But then it worked.
Yeah, there actually weren't that many blocking pieces left, so that's... nope, not my move.
He was feeling it. He was feeling it.
Yeah.
Daniel trying to block that Pyrrhus city unsuccessfully, as another 4-pointer and a 6-point farm belongs to the Thai player. Daniel gets 3 quick points to at least have something there. But it's really all about that big city in the left. Only way for Daniel to come back into this game, and
it's dead.
There's no triple city?
There is still, but come on, triple city, then you need a Dorito. Okay, he got a Dorito and 2 city caps, and red doesn't do anything about it. I don't think so. The problem was the dagger. I haven't witnessed who placed it there. It might
That
be
was
red.
Daniel. That was Daniel.
That was okay. Then this was more or less a self-block.
Yeah.
I think in that case you have to wait for the Dorito because there is no field Dorito, no splitter left to close this in one move, and then it's a self-block.
Case in point, your suggestion would have worked because you see what, if he were not to place the dagger here, then Daniel could have waited for this here tile with which he scored 3 points. Then he could have placed this tile over here, and then he would have used this here shielded row Dorito to finish the city. But based on Daniel's last move, which by the way should have been over this, so he should have gone for this unlikely idea that you told me with the triple city and the city caps and so on. And based on Daniel's move, it seems to me that it's simply a miscount. You make this move only if you think that there's still a regular Dorito that fits here, which there isn't.
Yep. At least that would be my guess as well.
It's understandable given the time. That would be my guess. And honestly, still some options for Daniel. This monastery is maybe not the way I would be doing things. I would probably try and get the last starting tile and use it to pre-build an evil hamster spot. So this is maybe a way to try and fight back. NotPeter, though, gets all the scoring tiles. He gets the last 2 crossroads. Daniel's road in the center of the board is now dead. The last meeple on the monastery is not going to hurt him too much, but it's not going to help him either.
Yeah, shall I spoil other results or not?
Let's do it after this game.
Okay.
Because we want to be thinking that this is the decider for the entire match. I hope so, at the very least. This will mean that we've picked the right table to watch.
You might be right about that.
Okay. Yeah, so Daniel, I think, now realizes that there is not much to be done about this city. He has also 18 points on the clock, so the miscounts are a bit understandable. Yeah, there were several tricky decisions to be made where he spent a lot of his time, and now 18 points, 18 seconds to try and gain in the last 2 moves. Also, he has failed to draw a curve so far, and he needs the curve to expand his field, I guess. Yeah,
although the curve doesn't matter at all now, because then you just have a 12-point field for both of them.
Right, because NotPeter already got that secondary field too, and also to rub it in, finishing another city with the city cap. And rather unfortunate series of draws for Daniel with the crossroads and some quick scoring tiles, but also maybe that invasion in the city on the right with 4 remaining tiles. It's like a bit of an iffy thing to do because there are many ways how this could have gone wrong. In any case, Daniel tried to build a big city on the left. Some tile counting imprecision, some difficulties drawing, some easier tiles to play with, and he's going to lose this game, not by that much actually. It seemed way more lopsided, at least to me. 24 points.
Yeah, just imagine a closed city on the left and a free meeple instead of the unsuccessful attack, as you mentioned. And it could have been way closer.
Indeed. So, what do we have for match score? On table 5, which we viewed as the closest possible encounter, Chawin won against Vapula. Pakshay AMD, we watched that. Lychee, we already mentioned that. Daniel just lost, giving Thailand the third match point. But the match is not yet over for tiebreakers. Gun07 is still playing the decider against Palinia. Are they still playing, though?
Yeah, they are.
They've started their decider 27 minutes ago, so we're probably looking at the last 1 or 2 tiles.
Even more than that.
Okay, this one really comes down to the wire, as Gun07 with 58 points and 1 red meeple in hand is, at least on the scoreboard, trailing behind against Palinia, who has 2 green meeples and 1 extra point on his scoreboard. There's a big field fight going on in the center, and Gun07 has a tile to win that big field fight, I presume. So I haven't quite counted the points on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points. There's an invasion going on by Palinia.
Nope. If the invasion were live, then a gun, I think, would have blocked there. And he didn't, and I don't think he missed that one. There's just no straight and no starting tile left in the deck.
Why do I still see 1 straight? Maybe I need to zoom out. Yeah, there we go. Okay, the last straight line is at the top of the board. So that's some clutch tile counting from Gun07, not wasting a tile too early. And the move that he played was actually a move that prevents another fields connection from Palinia, so I presume that Red must perceive that they are ahead, which I can't tell that easily. A 3-point field for Palinia with further chances of development. Is he gonna now get a 6-point road on the right? That would what I presume. That's the highest feature on the board gets himself.
Yeah, I think Red's ahead. Green's Ruin and Monastery are equal, and then we are left with Red's Ruins plus Green's Field on the left side, and that's advantage Red.
Yeah, that
so
0-point field. That 0-point field was a bit much. And you know what? It feel like what Palinia needed to do. He needed to get a city cap on his on his penultimate tile, because that would allow him to score some extra points for the field before taking the 6-point road. That would have made a 4-point difference, so not that much.
Yeah, and let's talk a bit about time management. Have a look at Gun 007's clock. That's how you do it, folks. Just got it close.
Yeah, it's. I can't. I was just panic.
No. I wouldn't advise to leave anything less than 10 seconds on your clock. You never know what is there once the clock is synchronized against BGA servers. So don't cut it that close, please. Yeah, so this is then second place for Thailand, I think.
Yep, convincing result, 4 versus 1 win. Mexico, honorable fight, absolutely honorable fight. We saw how difficult it was in Daniel's game, but at least now Daniel doesn't have to feel that bad, given the fact that that wasn't actually a decider, and the final score of the match is 4 Thailand, 1 Mexico. So before we do anything further, of course, we're going to talk about the tournament table a little bit. Anthem time. Congratulations to Thailand. All rise for the national anthem of Thailand. Congratulations to Thailand again. I would have to say that must be the best debut ever, perhaps. Taking second place in the group. But
yeah, I think so.
yeah, at least in recent history, if we don't count the first year of 2020, which was like debut for everybody.
Yeah, we don't.
So,
Yeah, I think they actually have strong players, which they also showed in last year's Asian Cup. I think I had a look at a few of those games, and therefore I'm not really astonished that they managed to secure a playoff spot in this really tough group. I mean, it's a group of death here. All, yeah, maybe except for Lithuania, the other five surely in all other groups would be favorites to qualify for the playoffs as well. But this time, I guess the only question then in this group left is whether Romania will secure the one of the two third best place finishes. But that we'll answer later, I guess.
yeah, if Romania wins 5-0, so they're going to be short just because of how good Thailand's tiebreaker is.
Yeah, exactly. But with any win, Romania would themselves, I think, guarantee a playoff spot because, as far as I know, the only other group where a third placed finisher could come in with 3 wins would be Group B. Yep, it looks like it.
Well, the tournament situation is still a little bit unclear in Group C when it comes to the 4th, 5th, and 6th place, because Mexico now just lost 1-4, and now they're demoted to 5th place with a tiebreaker of -5. But since Portugal's tiebreaker is -4, if they were to lose to Romania 1-4 or worse, then Portugal would be demoted back into 5th place, keeping Mexico in 4th. So our Mexican fans should be rooting for Romania and against Portugal in the evening to improve their tournament standings. If I got the math right, which is not a given.
But you were correct. So
Good.
4-1 in Romania's favor definitely would help Mexico. But even with a 2-3 by Portugal, Mexico could still leapfrog Portugal, depending on the game's difference then.
Right. Alrighty, I think that settles it. Time to wrap things up. So I'll be streaming again Portugal versus Romania, and Isma is also be streaming on his own channel, but a different table. We're gonna sort that out a little bit later. So apologies for the lags and stuff. Hopefully that was somewhat temporary, and with the limited picture and the audio, you were able to put together an image of what was going on in the last part of the match. Then if Romania-Portugal goes well, and I'm planning to sort that out, hopefully, before that match starts, if that goes well, then I'm also planning to stay awake for the late evening match, a late night match between Japan and USA for the first place in Group E. And then we have loads and loads of matches the next day, Sunday, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later. First of all, for those of you who are not familiar, in case you should absolutely check Ice Maze's channel. Let me just leave a link in the chat or something real quick. So Ice Maze does no streams, of course, but also analysis, puzzles, a lot of really cool Carcassonne content with insights and cool graphics as well. Did I miss anything, Eyes?
I don't think so.
Yeah, let me just
And
find
I
them.
do even more if folks would ask for more.
I think you can. Yeah, I'm just gonna, okay. The link is in
Yep,
the chat.
that
You can
works. Thank you.
check out the channel.